breaking down the tie. Every wrong, every right. Got the insight, fire, and the Bama pride. When the Crimson's on the line, we alone for the ride. Bama voices on the call, we gon' break it all down. Roll it up. From the rumble in the trenches to the kings of the crown. Roll it up. Yeah, the tide runs deep and the show runs strong. Jack, Jeff, Trev, keep it rolling all season long. Every snap, every play, every headline drop. If it's Bama on the field, you know we never stop. Fast take, big stakes, tide talk all day. Alabama by CFB, we don't play. Crimson spirit in the air, let the good times flow. Times flow. Roll it up. Only one place to be when you love that.
Good evening, Crimson Tide Nation, and welcome to the 65th edition of the Alabama Crimson Tide Live call-in show as we take your calls all right here on Alabama, the voice of college football. Yes, this is the second straight week we have it on a Friday night, but that is due to the holiday schedule, and we figured that yesterday, since it was the post-game show, we figure, we'll move the call-in show to Friday for this week, but are we back next week? That could happen, but we're definitely back the week after next in regularly scheduled programming Thursdays at 9 p.m. Central Time. All right here on Alabama, the voice of college football. And the call-in link is in the description. The call-in link will be in the chat in just a little bit as we go ahead and tell you about the magic of the Alabama VOCFB merch. We got Jeff. What's up, man?
Hey, Jackson, how's it going?
Oh, it's going pretty good. How you doing tonight, good buddy?
I'm doing great. Just in time for the merch advertisement. Absolutely great stuff that we got for sure. If you need that dog bowl, we might have that eventually. But for now, we got some great T-shirts and hats and stuff like that. But I'll let you continue with the promo, though.
Oh, there you go, man. And if we can add a voice college football journal, that could really be gold because that's where you get to keep all your secrets. If you need to vent, instead of drinking, a voice of college football journal will keep all your secrets safe. That I can personally guarantee, ladies and gentlemen. And we've got the tumbler, the game day mug, the can cooler. We've got it all. We've got the polo, the heavyweight t-shirt, the sweatshirt. We've got it all. We've got it all right here on Alabama at the Voice College Football. All righty, we've got our first caller tonight. We've got Godfather of the SEC. How you doing tonight, good buddy?
Yeah, I had to feel around, check and see after last night. I think I'm going to be all right. I hope so.
Yeah. Well, way I look at it, the 24-hour rule is over. So we're gonna be ready to go for 2026, and I'm just kind of going ahead and getting a look at 246 days till the 2026 season starts.
We're wishing our life away while we're done.
That's what my mom says. Like, when you count down to the future.
I'm just enjoying each day until we get to that point. Alabama has had a lot of great seasons in our lifetime. Godfather's seen a lot of great seasons, and me and you have as well, Jackson. This season, it wasn't as good for Alabama, but I'm still looking forward to next season. But those 246 days will be filled with a lot of other good things. Alabama football, we'll be talking about it within that time, but I mean, we got work to do. That will be the mantra all off season is we have work to do. We're not a Nebraska. We're not what Clemson is becoming, and we don't want to be. We're still Alabama. We're still great, but we can't slip. As great as a program as we are, we've had dark days before, and that can happen again if we're not careful. So that's what this staff, that's what these coaches have to do in the offseason. That's what I said with Travion on Monday. We got to use the portal and get some guys in, but it's more of a cultural thing. The players have to buy in. It doesn't matter, about bringing players in. You can bring some players in that might be more talented than what you got per se, but we've got talent. At least that's what the rankings said. It's about getting the players to consistently buy in and play hard week in and week out. And the teams that do that, they win. You can't tell me when I watched Ole Miss Georgia. You can say the motivating factor with Lane being gone, everything. The Ole Miss players showed up. They fought hard against Georgia. They're not as talented as Georgia. They don't have as many draft picks as Georgia, but they fought hard. Indiana played way harder than Alabama. It's effort. Alabama's just got to get back to that level. And if DeBoer is not able to do that ever, he will not be the coach eventually. Not now. He's not going to get fired now, and I don't want him to get fired, but he will not be the coach eventually in like 2, 3, 4 years down the road if he can't do that. That's the biggest problem I see. I know people say it's a lot more complicated than that. And yeah, you can complicate things and point out small nuances, but the main problem we had the last 2 years was effort. Our effort has not been there game in and game out.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, we looked like a mess yesterday, but at the same time, I couldn't help but notice that Cincinnati learned a lot from the master, Coach Saban himself, especially when he had the resting angry face, constantly, even after like a 60-point win. And to your point, Jeffrey, you mentioned last night on the postgame show with Trevion and myself about how, he was telling the guys, no, do not celebrate. Do not celebrate. Game's not over yet. And that makes me kind of go, that's a coach that's going to be leading his team to a natty. And I said it with Rock and Rant and Alec Keyser on CFB Express. The winner of the Rose Bowl is automatically going to win it all. I do not see Oregon or Texas Tech as a national title team. That's just not happening.
Well, I mean, I will say that it does help big time that Georgia and Ohio State are eliminated. I know people are like, well, Miami and Ole Miss won, so theoretically they're the better team. Again, better team, you can argue that. Yeah, they won, so they're the better team. I think Ohio State and Georgia are still better teams than Ole Miss and Miami, but they didn't win. So, yeah, the path for if Alabama had a won, which didn't come close, and Indiana now being the winner is very ideal. It's very favorable. It's still not a walk in the park. I mean, Oregon, Ole Miss, and Miami are good teams, and they've proven to be good teams, which is why they're still here. But I'm just saying that, to your point, if Alabama had been the winner of this game, we would be saying the same thing. Yeah, it's looking very favorable that they could win it all because I don't think that the teams remaining are as formidable. That's not to say that they can't win. I think every team left has an almost equal chance to win. Maybe Indiana's got the edge just because of how freaking amazing they look. But I think every single team left has a shot, at least a shot. It's probably the first, semifinal in a while where you could say that. Because in years past, you used to point to one or two teams like, yeah, they're the heavy favorites. I mean, this is a pretty even semifinal with Indiana having an edge, I think. But Alabama would have had a great shot. We blew it. We didn't even come close. But, yeah, it's very interesting. It's very interesting.
No doubt about it. And, before we get to the comments, I wanted to mention about Miami Ole Miss. Can either of you gentlemen tell me, and this includes everybody in the chat, can anybody tell me when's the last time Miami and Ole Miss play one another?
I can tell you the last time they won a national title, Miami in 2001 and Ole Miss never. I can tell you that. Oh. When the last time they played, I mean, I want to say never, but maybe they did.
Probably somewhere in the 50s, I guess, probably.
Yeah, you got the right decade, Godfather. What was the year? What was the year, Godfather?
That's before my time, so
I wasn't there, man. So that's why I don't know.
I'm old, but I'm not that old. So I don't know what, early 50s, between 50 and 55, 51, 52, 53.
You got it right. You got it right. 1951. Where's the applause button? Where's the?
There it is.
Was that the year I Love Lucy came out, 1951?
Yep, 1951. And
see, I know that.
Yep. And let's see. Yep. Rabbit season, duck season. That was first year of that, of course.
Is that the only time they ever played one another? And I think that's it, isn't it?
Nope. 3 times, actually.
What's the dates on the 3 times? I have
So we've got it from Winsipedia. And the first time was 1936, November 27th. Ole Miss shut them out.
Wow.
Yeah, Ole Miss won 14-0. And we're looking at 1940.
That's 90 years ago at this point.
Nearly 100 years ago.
November 29th, 1940, Ole Miss won 21-7 against Miami. And of course, the last time Ole Miss Miami played one there was 1951, October 26th, where Miami won 20-7. Can you believe that?
It's crazy.
Oh.
What is that? Ain't it 64 years? Yeah, 64 years ago.
Yep, it'll be 65.
65. Yeah.
And we got this $8 super chat.
75, right? He's 1951, 75 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, 75 years ago.
Yeah,
right.
again, it's crazy because, I mean, I remember being a kid in like the 80s and 70s, 90s weren't that long ago. Yeah.
Oh, man, we got the
Long time
$8.
ago, man.
Oh, man, we got the $8 super chat from.
Oh, no. You see, he must have changed his name. He's no longer the Diesel Freak.
Oh no.
Oh, man.
Go ahead and read the super chat, Jackson. Sorry, my bad.
Well, we got the $8 super chat for Trojan Fight where he says, still waiting for Alabama to run the ball. Jackson said it was coming. 118.
Hey, I never said it was coming. I'll say on mine. I know that's why you said Jackson, but
That's
I never
me.
said it. Because I said that Jam Miller was our best back, but our O-line was not really set up to run the ball well. It never had. And with Jam Miller not having the explosiveness that he used to have, that he used to possess, that hurt. Daniel Hill, I like Daniel Hill, but he's just a big back, and he doesn't have the speed of Derrick Henry. And we never gave A.K. Deer a shot. Riley's all right, but it's just it wasn't set up for success. You know, the longer you go in a season, if you don't improve at it, you're not going to. Yeah, that's why you hear the phrase 14 games into the season, you are what you are. Well, yeah, you are what you are. You're not going to get dramatically better with the same players unless somehow somebody emerges, kind of like how Charlie Becker emerged for Indiana when Surratt got hurt. That can happen. Maybe A.K. Deer could have been that guy, but we never gave him that shot either. So we don't know. I mean, the staff obviously did not believe in him, or they thought that the guys ahead of him were better. But I mean, in the little flashes we saw from Deer, it looked like he actually might have been the best back we could have utilized with our poor performance on the O-line and the run game. I don't know. I mean, is it the scheme? See, my thing with that comment is that Indiana runs a run pass option offense too. They're very RPO, and they're a great running team. So I disagree with that. I think a lot of his schematics from the O-line itself. I don't think that Alabama blocks in a way that is ideal for runs. I mean, you think about like how you see a lot of teams have like the guys on the right and then they rotate left. And then sometimes you counter that way and then you go back that way because the entire defense shifts with the linemen. You see a lot of stuff. We don't do that. We just block straight. And that's all right, but you got to be really darn good at that. You got to be creative on the O-line. I'm not a big X's and O's guy. I'm not that deep in that stuff. I don't know it that hard. I'm just saying like Wisconsin back in the day when they were good, they had so much schematics going on with their offensive line. They moving them all around. And that's kind of what Travion was talking about when he said that the linemen that DeBoer had at Washington were slimmer and they can move more. Our guy, like Proctor's big and slow. And that's great when you want to just block somebody straight up, but that's not that great when you're having to move around and to, you know, create run lanes. And a lot of times our O-linemen just were in the way. You know, they didn't separate, make the holes. So yeah, I think it's more of our O-lineman itself, the type of guys we had and the type of blocking that we ran instead of it being the running backs, and the RPO has nothing to do with it.
There we go.
Me.
Well, Trojan Fight, we just want to tell you we appreciate the $8 super chat from you, good buddy. We appreciate it very much. And you know, for those who want a guarantee on their comment being read, you can always put it in a super chat. But if you can't be able to put in a super chat or become a YouTube member of Alabama Voice College Football, no worries. There are other ways you can definitely help the channel, and that's by liking, commenting, subscribing, and click on the notification bell to Alabama Voice College Football and to share it with all your friends, your family, and definitely those cashiers that just want to go home at this hour of the night.
Time to go home. Day's over. Cue the harmonica. So
there you go.
yeah. It's what he say. I can't. I'm not
He
reading.
says
it.
watching me rant on mute is kind of hilarious because he's seeing my hands and I'm just moving around and all that kind of stuff. I bet it is kind of funny watching on mute.
We love you, Caden. We love you. You know it. We love you.
Oh yeah. But yeah, Godfather, I was thinking about like today being the first day of the portal, and we're losing backups, but we've got
Like
some
in
pretty
Blockway.
good. Yeah, we lost Backway, Richard Young, Jalen Hale,
Yeah.
Olis Alinen, linebacker Noah Carter.
I will say, I think it's funny Richard Young's in the portal, considering we heard from a lot of people that Richard Young was going to be our best running back.
Oh, yeah.
And I said from the beginning that he was not. Like I said, I'm wrong a lot, and when I am wrong, DJ Lagway being my number one quarterback, I'm wrong a lot, but I pegged that Richard Young was not the guy. Richard Young was never to me possessed what we even needed from a running back this year. Again, Jam Miller's old self would have been pretty all right, enough to maybe give us an average run game at best, but it was not Richard Young, because Richard Young kind of fit more of the Daniel Hill. He was bigger, he was slower. That's not what we needed. But yeah, a lot of people were high on Richard Young. That never materialized. I hate Mbakwe's leaving, but again, that's just the name of the portal, man. He sees that maybe Ryan Williams is coming back, and and some of these other guys are coming back, and that he's not going to be a guaranteed starter. And instead of sitting behind the starters and wanting to grow and earn your spot, no, we hit the portal. Why'd you commit in the first place? It's nothing against Mbakwe because everybody's doing it. I'm just saying, I feel like if he had stuck it out at Bama, he could have been a great upperclassman here. But again, it is what it is.
Well, the way I look at it, it's his loss, not ours.
And that's why you don't need to invest all your time and effort and money anymore into high school recruiting. You have to high school recruit. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you don't. But you see what happens? We put a lot of effort into recruiting a guy like Mbakwe just to lose him a year or two later.
Oh,
Didn't give us anything. He's going to give his next school a lot more production than he gave us. And we're the ones that put the effort into recruiting him in the first place. And a lot of schools are realizing that. And that's why a lot of schools are kind of splitting up their recruiting by half high school, half portal, because they're like, well, we kind of need guys that come into our program that are good now. Whereas, instead of recruiting all these freshmen, it's kind of like Loxley. He's screwed at Maryland because he's putting he let Roman Hemby leave. Instead of giving him an NIL deal, he let Roman Hemby leave for Indiana. And he was like, well, I got to pay Malik Washington, our freshman quarterback. I got to pay all these freshmen.
Oh, yeah.
Freshmen aren't going to win you games in football. They're not. You can't go that method because people are making fun of Indiana. They're like, well, Kurt Signetti's got an experienced roster. He's got some of the oldest guys in college football. Well, good for Indiana that they got old guys. All right. That's how you win. Is with experience. We went from now we're making fun of teams that got experience instead of young guys. Young guys don't win you football games. It ain't like basketball where Caden Boozer or Cameron Boozer, whatever his name is, for Duke is a stud and Flag and all these other guys, Zion Williamson for Duke. I mean, I'm just listing all the Duke players, but you get my point. Kevin Durant, tons of one and dones. Kyrie Irving were great players. All the Kentucky guys, Anthony Davis, whatever, that could impact the game as freshmen. That's not how it works in football. Ryan Williams was an exception his freshman year. That does not happen on a regularity, especially linemen. Linemen got to beef up, and by their junior years, they're starters. That's how it works. So you need to prioritize portal recruiting as much, not more, but just as much as high school recruiting, because you're going to lose a lot more guys like Mbakwe than are going to be four-year players these days. A lot of people aren't going to be like Ty Simpson and stick it out and wait as a bench guy. It just ain't the way it is anymore.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned, portal. Oh, dadgummit. That's not what I wanted to do. Come on. There we go. We're looking at a running back transfer named Hollywood Smothers from North Carolina State. He scheduled an official visit, and get this. We see the connection to Alabama they would have. We've got the director of recruiting, Jatavis Sanders. He was the one who recruited him to Oklahoma, I believe. And in the 2 seasons Smothers was there, he rushed for 1,510 yards, 12 touchdowns, and he got 412 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. This would be a huge get. I couldn't agree more with Crimson coverage on that one. That would be a huge win for the Crimson Tide if we can get him. And plus, we can kind of get back at North Carolina State for injuring Joe Namath 61 years ago, 1964. So, and you know, Smothers, if he comes to Alabama, he would be able to have a great time in Tuscaloosa, and he wouldn't have to scratch and claw his way to 7 wins at North Carolina State. That's the Dave Doreen way.
No, that's why Jahmyr Gibbs left Georgia Tech. I mean, you know, those type of transfers happen all the time, and I think they're great. It just sucks for the school they leave because it's like they're the best player, you know. But now he's the diesel freak again. By the way, he's changed his profile thing again. But yeah. So, but just whatever. But again, the you know, the players coming from programs like that. I mean, NC State's, you know, it's a power conference team. He had great success there. He probably would be good for us. I definitely think that our offensive line is going to have to be dramatically better next year for any running back to have success.
Well, let's take a look at him, shall we? Oh, there we go.
Has he got the speed that Jamar Gibbs had? Gibbs could fly, man. I mean, he had that other
rare speed for a back. He was just fast.
Oh, there we go. He's making juke moves.
He was like Derrick Henry, and he got an open. He had another gear. You just couldn't catch him.
This is the Signetti slogan. He's not going to just drop off that hard. So definitely you want to go over with production. You want guys that have done a lot. You don't want to bring in a lot of players that, they got 3 catches for 30 yards.
Like, I mean, Jam Miller, he just, when you give him the ball, he's sitting there chopping his feet. I mean, and I mean, I don't know how they teach him anymore, but you don't see this kid doing that. Of course, he's in college too, but I don't know, like you said, Jam just wasn't the same after the injury. I don't think he ever will be. I just don't.
Here's one more. Here,
we'll see.
Oh, man.
Put him some more French fries in the bag. We got to get him.
There you go, man. There we go.
Or McDonald's
French fries. God. Like, did you see that? Like, oh, my God. We got to show this, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, my God.
There we go. Don't blink.
Don't blink.
Blink.
Here we go.
It's like that joke in SpongeBob.
We got to have some running backs that can block too. You got to, if you're gonna throw the ball as much as Alabama's got, you got to have some running backs to be able to stand in there and take some blocks if they can.
That's something that Indiana did very well. If anyone was paying attention in the Alabama game, every single time that it looked like Alabama's pass rush was about to get to Mendoza, the running back for Indiana, usually Hemby, had a great block to give him just enough time, man. I mean, there's a lot. I've read so many stories of coaches being like, I love this player. I love this running back, but we don't play him much because his blocking skills suck. Well, unfortunately for Alabama, they all did, at least relative to, you know, being good. I'm not saying like every time that they were bad, but pretty consistently they were not good. Indiana, the tailbacks blocked every time. After the first couple sacks, they were just so good. Because, I mean, there was one play Hemby took on Pierre. Pierre just coming off the edge and just smacked. Hemby stood up, and he just kept blocking, like fighting him. Mendoza dimed down the field to Becker. And, I mean, I'm watching these plays, and I'm like, Alabama's not doing this.
No.
I mean, football is about blocking. It's about effort, and it's about winning the lines of scrimmage, man. You got to have skill players, yeah. And you got to have good defense, man, but you have to be able to protect. You have to be able to block. And another thing, Indiana's receivers block well. You know, Cooper and Surratt are incredible blockers. Alabama's receivers, not good blockers, man. Bernard sometimes, but Ryan Williams, he don't block. He can't block. So that's another thing. Alabama doesn't have blocking receivers. And in the NFL, you got to be good at blocking, man. They expect every player to block. Especially if you're on an offense that heavily utilizes power run. You know, it's just football is a sport, you know, where no matter what position you play, you need to have multiple skill sets. It's not just power. You need to have speed. You need to have, you know, just the reliability. But there's a lot of aspects to the game. Like if you're a receiver, you're just thinking catch the ball. Well, you got to be able to block. You got to be able to run routes well. You got to have good hands. I mean, there's a lot of components here. And that's why if you have a weakness, that's why first-round draft picks, that's why they analyze them to death. It was like, do they have weaknesses? That you can have a weakness. We're all humans. But when you have a running back who's not a good blocker, there's a reason why none of Alabama's running backs are going to probably get drafted this year. Jan Miller would have last year, but since he came back and had the season he had, none of them are. And that's a key problem for Alabama. They can't have that next year. This Smothers, as great as we saw him run, he's got to be able to block.
It's like, like he's a huge reason why North Carolina State was staying in the game against Duke earlier this season. And, if Smothers commits to Bama, which that could be a huge get for Alabama if he transfers to Alabama. I said commit for a moment, but comes over to Bama, he's going to be in for a good time for a long time.
Way to go, Austin. 20 big ones.
There we go. We got a $20 super chat from our good buddy Sports Talk with Austin. And he says, my 3 biggest takeaways from this Alabama-Indiana game and the CFP in general: 1, Alabama can't run the ball at all. 2, Kurt Daddy outcoached Cale DeBoer. And 3, Ole Miss is very dangerous. I think they could bring it all the home.
Good.
Oh, man.
Well, you better hope that don't happen, Austin, on the Ole Miss thing, because your pick is Miami to win it all.
Yeah.
So you don't want Ole Miss to take it home. That would hurt your pick. But that being aside, I agree for sure with all these points. Kurt Cignetti heavily outcoached DeBoer, and so did Brian Haynes and Mike Shanahan. They outcoached Grubb and Womack. Not even close. I mean, Brian Haynes is the fact that Indiana still has him right now is amazing, because he could easily be a head coach right now. Easily.
Like that whole Lane Kiffin leaving the LSU situation.
Yeah, now they're trying to take the assistants away before they can coach the next game, which is crap.
But you want to know what Brian Kelly leaving for LSU and Lane Kiffin leaving for LSU reminds me of? It's like the dude selling his soul to the devil on the Devil and Daniel Webster. That's what it reminds me of. Because it's like, I'm going to win a national title if I go coach at LSU.
Dude, and he had a national championship caliber team this year, which is so sad. Like that is the logic that made me so upset. Like, I understand if Ole Miss, he's going 8-4 every year, 9-3, and he's trying his best, and, he can't get there. And it's like the very time that he leaves for the LSU job is when he has a team that is capable of winning it all.
Oh, yeah.
That is just insane to me.
That would be so funny. I will.
And it's funny too, because the people in chat were telling me, Jeffrey, Lane does not have a team that can win it all. And I'm like, yes. Where are you people at? I'm not like one of those people who likes to call out people like that, but I got roasted for how dare I say that Lane Kiffin had a national championship caliber team this year. He did.
Yeah.
He actually had a really great team last year. They just choked in 2 games.
Yeah.
They were very good last year, and they were very good the year before that when they beat Penn State in the bowl game. They've been very good. And this year's team was national championship caliber. Played great all year. The only weakness I see, I think their defense is still a little sketch. I think their defense could still be a bit better. But outside of that, like they're a great team, and it's just sad to me that he left when he had the shot. And I also think it's pathetic that he's the LSU coach right now, and he's getting paid $500,000 to do nothing. You're not even the coach anymore. And then I'm seeing at the bottom of the screen, people are saying, "Oh, him and Pete Golding have a plan." What plan? You aren't the coach anymore. Oh my gosh.
Pathetic.
I'm trying here. I'm trying not to go crazy, but that is ridiculous. The Lane, I'm done with that. He's gone. He's at LSU. Focus on stop talking about. He keeps retweeting on his account. Congrats on Ole Miss. They can win it all. Yeah, and you're benefiting from it. You're making money off of it. You're not even doing anything.
So you know how South Park was playing the Top Gun song over a certain person in the administration on one of their latest South Park episodes? Godfather, I think you know who I'm talking about. but that I think we should do that with Lane Kiffin. Like I'm gonna figure out how to play like the little instrumental music, but I'll sing about Lane Kiffin being a douche. So we we can give that the South part. See if they want
Dude,
that.
I would have respected Lane Kiffin so hard if he had just stayed at Ole Miss. That's
Oh,
all he had to do. I mean, I understand, again, LSU, bigger job. I understand. It's what everybody kept telling me. I know. I'm not dumb. I know that even with all the, the new parity that we're seeing right now with what NIL is creating in the portal, that you get the Trinidad Chambliss Division II Ferris State example going to Ole Miss and doing great. Like it happens, and Ole Miss is stringing together this team, and Indiana stringing together this team with Signetti, and you're seeing the parity and all that crap. But I understand, even with all that, LSU is a better job. I get that LSU is a better job. But the fact that people told me that Lane Kiffin could not win a natty at Ole Miss, when the fact that he's gone and his team has a shot to win it all.
God,
that again, the irony is just insane, because I love going back, Jackson, and reading what people have said like a year ago or 2 years ago. And people just all over Twitter like, if Lane stays at Ole Miss, he'll never win a natty. His team literally I'm not saying they're going to win the natty, but they have a shot to win the natty. And he's not the coach because he decided to go to LSU. And your reasoning for going to LSU is to win a natty. And he had a team that could win the natty. I mean, to me, all he had to do is just wait a couple more years. Maybe DeBoer gets fired, which I don't want to happen, and he would get the Bama job. What happened? And he won his natty at Ole Miss, just like Saban did at LSU, and then he could go to Bama. Whew. No, he's like, screw Ole Miss. I'm just, what? I don't get it. You had a natty type of team, and you threw it away. And he better not get any credit for winning. I understand that he built the team. Some people are going to, if they win it all, that's going to be so annoying to be like, well, Lane technically won a title because he built the. No, he didn't.
Austin.
He didn't coach the team.
20 more big ones from Austin.
There we go. We appreciate the $20 super chat from our good buddy Sports Talk with Austin. And like we said down below, even if you can't be able to put in a super chat or become a YouTube member of Alabama, the voice of college football, no worries, no trouble at all. That's why there are other ways to help the channel. You like, comment, subscribe, click on the notification bell, and share the link to all your friends and family and all your acquaintances all over the place.
We appreciate it, Austin. We appreciate it as well, Trojan Fire. And we also got another super chat from Austin. Appreciate it. You can read it, Jackson, if you want.
$10 super chat from our buddy Austin. And he says, with the CFP in general, all four teams have something that could hold them back. It's set. Is that spec or it's set? Okay. Yeah, except Indiana. Oregon's defense is mid. Miami, which version of Carson Beck will show up? Ole Miss secondary has issues. Oh, yeah. That is going to be interesting to see what happens.
I think the most complete team besides Indiana is probably Oregon, just because of the fact that when their defense wants to play good, it is capable. It is capable. I mean, they've had good defensive performances this year, but it's not again consistent like Alabama. Offensively, they are pretty good. Miami, I absolutely agree with the Carson Beck. I get that for sure. He's not consistent. I've said that all year. But when he's good enough, when he doesn't turn it over, I mean, their defense is solid. They do have a really good defensive line. I mean, their defense is stout. The offense, I mean, they got that running back's really good. Tony's really good. So I mean, they've got guys on both sides of the ball. But it's just Dante Moore is probably more consistent than Carson Beck. So that's why I say Oregon's probably the most complete team across the board besides Indiana. I think Miami's upside is higher than Oregon's, though. When Miami's playing good, their upside's higher, which I can't believe I'm saying that after saying all season Miami was trash, because they'd proven to be bad and then they turned it around. Good for them. Ole Miss, their defense is weak. It is very weak. That's the weakness, but that offense is incredible. And their defense can get stops. It can. It's just not consistent. So But I agree. That's good analysis from Austin. I agree with you.
Oh, no doubt. And we appreciate the $10 super chat from Sports Talk with Austin. We appreciate it very much. And he is an amazing contributor to this channel and a great friend of ours. We are glad to know him. I tell you what, he's known him since October 16th of 2022. And oh man, when I told him, like, before we went to bed, I told him a little bit about how as a Bama man, I scared the crap out of him unintentionally. I wasn't trying to, but it was like, it's, and and I hope to see Louisville do better in 2026 for his sake. I mean, we all do. Like that would be
Brom's
pretty.
done good there. It's just he can't get them, to elevate. They've basically been the same team the last 3 years. They've been a consistent 8-4-ish. They beat somebody good every year. They're kind of in the conversation for most of the season until they drop off. That type of. I know the 1 year they made the AC title game, but to me that year's team was worse than the year after when they lost more games. So I don't know, but they're just about the same. They're a solid team. Yeah. Can he get them higher? I think what is so ironic though about the 38-3 worst Alabama bowl loss in decades, and it is, but also the fact that Indiana, despite having a lot of close losses in bowl games like the Duke game, the Utah game, the Tennessee and Ole Miss games in recent years, Indiana won their first bowl game since 1991. I want you to think about that. You think about Jackson, like some teams that have had hilariously long bowl droughts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they haven't won a bowl game in like 20 years. They're probably winning the Quick Lane Bowl oh my gosh, they won their first bowl game in 20 years. They won the Quick Lane Bowl, or they won the Poinsetta Bowl when that used to exist, or the Sun Bowl or some crap. Indiana went from 35 years ago. They ain't won a bowl game since 1991. 35 years later, they win their first bowl game, and it's the Rose Bowl against Alabama.
And it's their first ever win in the Rose Bowl school history.
I think that in and of itself is one of the most insane statistics of all time in any sport. You go from 35 years of never winning a bowl game, haven't won a bowl game in 35 years, and you win your first one and the granddaddy of them all against Alabama, and you win 38-3. That and people saying Cignetti is not a top 3 coach, if not the number 1 or 2 coach in college football. You can't even deny it. I mean, Indiana hasn't won a bowl game in 35 years, and they won the Rose Bowl. They didn't win the Quick Lane Bowl. They didn't work their way up where they won the Quick Lane Bowl, and then they won the Holiday Bowl, and then they won the Citrus Bowl, and then they won the Gator Bowl, and then they won the Rose Bowl. No, they went from not winning one in 35 years to winning the Rose Bowl against Alabama.
That's
38-3. Yeah, screw you, Vanderbilt. You're not that big a deal. Okay? You're not. Not as good of a story. I mean, I'm just saying, like Pavia, that ain't as cool. That Indiana is one of the best stories in history because of stuff like that. That is 35 years of not winning a bowl game. And then you do that. I mean, I picked Indiana to win by 3. They won by 35. And they ain't won. They never been here. I don't know. I don't get it. Indiana's only won 4 bowl games all time.
1979 Holiday Bowl against BYU.
Yep, that was
the
first.
1988 Liberty Bowl against South Carolina, 34-10, and the 1991 Copper Bowl
against Baylor.
Yep,
they won 24-0. Yeah,
man, a ball game named after Copper from the Fox and the Hound.
Like, think about it. I mean, that's how insane that is. Like, I mean, I don't even know how to put into words how insane that is. They'd won 3 bowl games all time. Indiana's been playing. Now, granted, the Big Ten does have skewed bowl stats because for the longest time, only the Rose Bowl was a Big Ten bowl game. The SEC had more bowl bids. So the Big Ten only had the Rose Bowl. So for the longest time, if you didn't win the Big Ten, you did not go to a bowl game. They added more bowls later. So that's why the Big Ten has less bowl representation than the SEC historically. But Indiana had only won 3 bowl games all time.
Oh, yeah.
3. in 150 years of football almost. Like, I think Indiana's been playing football since the 1890s. So that's about 135 years, almost 140 years of football. And they've won 3 bowl games. You got teams that have won 60 bowl games that aren't even close to blue bloods. They're not even like, you don't even think of them as great programs, but they've won like 50, 60 bowl games. Indiana won 3. And that's why when people are like, well, Jeffrey, Ole Miss, they're not historically good either. And Iowa State, it's not as good of a story, dude. Indiana was way worse than Iowa State and Ole Miss. They're not even in the same league. Vanderbilt was better. Indiana had fewer bowl wins than anybody in the FBS in the Power 5. Now, it ain't even close. They barely won 40% of their games. The only reason they did is because of all those crappy non-conference games they always play. So, I mean, they were bad, dude. What Cignetti has done is insane. And I know the NIL has helped, and there has been a commitment to football. That's why every single post-game thing, he's always like, Pam Witten, Scott Dolson, the AD, and the athletic, all that stuff of Indiana. He's always thanking them because they have added to Indiana's financial resources. But the Alabama losing 38-3, worst loss in decades, is not even close to as big of a story as Indiana winning their first bowl game in 35 years, and it's against Alabama, and they won 38-3. I mean, to me, this game, like, I know this is an Alabama show, but this game is more so about what Indiana did versus what we did. They killed us. They've gone from a 3-9, always just trash has-been. They never were a has-been. They're not Nebraska's a has-been. Indiana was a has-never. They've never been anything. They had the one blip with the O.J. Simpson loss USC year in 67, 68. They had the Anthony Thompson, Antoine Randall, a couple really, really great players. That's it. And they've had nothing. And they did this. Like, yeah, it's our worst bowl loss, but it came against, to me, arguably like a top 2 story in college football history of how amazing the turnaround has been. It don't matter if next year they go 3-8. These 2 seasons have been the most incredible turnaround I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, no doubt. It was, although for Alabama, it was the worst bowl loss since the 1998 Music City Bowl against Virginia Tech. 38-7, we lost that game. And I will say, Roger RV9U has said, I've been an Indiana fan since 1959. We don't go let alone win too many bowls.
They've only been to 15.
You have been warning us all season Indiana could win a national title before an SEC team does. So I think Indiana can pull it off, to be honest. Like, it's basically either Indiana or Ole Miss for me.
I think all the teams have a chance. I mean, I really do. I think Oregon has a chance. I think that Miami has a chance. I think Indiana's the best team remaining. I think that they're the best team remaining based off how they've played, how consistent they've been. They're undefeated. They've played hard every game. Cignetti's just, as some people, they're calling him like he's that good. Like he's a pain to play against. It's how good he is. The staff is incredible. They're the best team left. Still the least talented, but they're the best team left. But those other 3 teams have a chance. They do.
Indiana versus Miami. That's what it'll be, probably.
All right.
Especially if Ole Miss loses their coordinators. If they're not able to coach, I don't think there's anything Pete Golding can do. I don't. I think it's going to be very, very tough for Pete Golding to get Ole Miss ready to play, and because play calling is so important. I mean, that's why Lane's taking the coordinators, why Charlie Weiss is leaving, because the play calling is good. Very good. It's like you lose those guys, there's no way. There is no way that they win. I could be wrong. Again, I've been wrong before. Maybe Carson Beck is one of those games. But if they lose the coordinators, I don't think they win.
Oh yeah. Well, Godfather, anything else you got for us tonight, good buddy?
It's always fun to be on the show, whether it's Friday night, Thursday night, after party in the games. Jeffrey always has a good show. It was a rock'em sock'em last night. It was something else, but Jeffrey held it together. He held everything together.
I appreciate it. My internet wasn't holding up though. It was struggling last night, but other than that, I tried, and I appreciate Hummus here as well, and you and Austin. I mean, we kept Cade in check. We'll have to do that again. because he's coming on.
Oh, we're gonna do that in a little bit.
We're gonna keep them in check. But anyway, I'll slide out of here and let Austin, some of them, slide on in here and hump it up a little bit, chop it up. But I'll catch y'all next week, whichever night Jackson decides to do it on. Probably Thursday next week, Jackson.
Oh, well, we should be back. Yeah, because like we're kind of figuring out the schedule for next week because like the playoffs and all. We don't want to mess around with that.
No.
But once we've got it figured out, we'll put it in a community post and we will let you know.
Yep, be looking for the post on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, X, YUZ. I got to go. Always talking sports. Sometimes, but not all the time. That's me, not Jeffrey. I always remember that. I'll catch y'all later on next week. Y'all be good, guys.
I appreciate
See
it,
you
Godfather.
soon,
You have a
bud.
great night.
It's always fun talking with the Godfather, the SEC, and it's always fun.
He is a great college football fan, Caden, whether you think so or not.
Agreed. And before we get to our next callers, because we've got callers waiting, we've got a $5 super chat from our good buddy Sports Talk with Austin asking us, overall, do you guys consider this season a success for Alabama? 10-win season, SEC title game appearance, beat Tennessee and Auburn, made the Rose Bowl. Well, for me, the best part is beating up on Tennessee and Auburn, especially when Sean McDonough's throwing out his puberty voice over Xavier Brown getting a pick six off of Tennessee to end the first half. So, I mean, that's always going to be my favorite part of the 2025 season for sure. And, you know, beating Auburn's always good. And just kind of, like, we look sloppy against LSU, but, you know, it is what it is. Like,
The problem is, Jackson, it was more successful than last year. But was it a success? It should be. It should be a success. I think the season, because it was better than last year, is at the very baseline of success. I just think the problem is it's kind of like how Travion said and what others have said. How we lose is just not encouraging. The Florida State loss, the Oklahoma loss, Georgia in the SEC title game, the losses the year before. We were better this year. We made the playoffs this year. We won a game in the playoffs this year. So it was better than last year. It's just, to me, it's hard to say it was a definitive success because of all the flaws and the inconsistencies. But I think if you're going to say, is it a success or a failure? If you're going to just say straight up, was it a success or a failure? You have to pick one or the other. I would say success, but it's not by much.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was basically a step in the right direction. It's not the direction where we wanted, but it was a step in the right direction. I mean, we got into the playoffs. You know, we beat our top rivals. And once again, Sean McDonough throwing out his puberty voice over making a big play against one of our big rivals. I mean, that's always a plus. And, you know, we bounced back nicely after that Florida State loss. You know, and, you know, especially beating Georgia week 5, you know, but, you know, again, it was a success.
By a little bit. Again, it's not a runaway success. You got Rammer Jammer saying failure. That's why I'm saying it's not a big success, because a lot of Alabama fans are going to say failure because we're Alabama. We should be a national championship team every year. I get that. Or caliber, like right there. Like if we don't win, it's like we were that close. From that standpoint, we were not. No, never at one point were we like, man, this is a national championship team. And even though we were saying, hey, if they can beat Indiana, they'll have a shot. But I'm just saying, like, we didn't none of us legitimately thought this was a championship team because we didn't run the ball well, we didn't defend the run that good, and that's what limited us. But I just think if you're just going straight up success failure, you gotta pick one. It was a success just because the season was better than last year. It was not better by a lot.
Yeah.
So I get why people are saying failure, because again, your standard and what me and Jackson's standard is too for Alabama is we should be a national championship contender every year, and we were not. So it technically is a failure, but compared to last year, it was better. It's not by a lot, but it was better. So it's
well, one thing is for sure, as long as we're able to smoke cigars after a Tennessee victory, that I could always consider a success, you know.
Well,
And
that should be a given, right?
yeah, well, first time ever I smoked a cigar, so it's like there you go. But I will say though, you know, we appreciate the $5 super chat from Sports Talk with Austin, and you know, I can say it's gonna be interesting to see what happens for 2026. I've got a good feeling about 2026, and I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be more than all right. We'll be all right. But we will keep you updated. All right, here on Alabama, the voice of college football, with transfer portal news, recruiting updates, roster updates, and much, much more. Stay tuned. And we got a $20 super chat for Roger RV9U. And he says, I enjoy the show. Thanks for the hard work. Thank you so much, good buddy. We appreciate it very much. We thank you, man. Like, man, we appreciate so much.
We
And
absolutely appreciate it, John. Thank you so much for the super chat, and appreciate the compliment. Because we appreciate all of you guys for sure.
there we
Even
go.
with Caden sipping or doing whatever he's doing, snoring, dying. I hope he's not dying, but it's not sounding good.
They're not, Lee.
Yeah,
Wake up. Wake up. You're on air. You're on air.
You're alive, Caden. I'm hoping and praying you're alive. Are you alive? You were worrying me that you were dying there for a minute.
Okay, where do we?
No, I was just bored over Godfather's bull.
Okay. Well, we got 5 minutes, man.
This is like the 4th time I had to create an account because Mark Rogers has my main account banned. And I'll say, I hope he's enjoying hell because I'm laughing from above.
Did you see that comment from Husker? I'm not pulling that one up. Did you see?
Oh yeah. I see it. Yeah.
How do you feel about that, Caden? I don't want to already go. We don't need to be getting too off the rails here this early. But
no.
But what's your response to that?
To Roger?
No, a Husker.
I can't pull this comment. Or wait, hold on, because I'm on. I think he's either smoking too much crack or I don't know what. He's an idiot.
Okay, so how are you feeling about the Ohio State Buckeyes entering 2026 right now, Caden?
Oh, they're gonna win it all, man. According to him, they're gonna win it all.
Solid.
They're gonna kick us all out.
Solid. I'm not gonna complain. We just need to bring our A game the next time, and we gotta work on fixing our errors. Simple as that. If we can fix our errors, we'll be just fine. But as far as I'm concerned, yeah, we need to keep. They need. I'm gonna give Miami credit where it's due. I'm gonna say that honestly.
Okay.
Like, I'm not gonna come on here and complain like most people do, like Austin. That guy is a
What's a I don't.
He's bleeping cuss words.
If you want to know, dumb SOB.
Okay.
Plus, I'm already looking at buying some football cleats back because apparently I'm gonna have to text my buddy at Ohio State to see if I can't get it back if we can't set up a session sometime in the next couple of weeks on a Sunday with all the guys.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question, Caden. Is your girlfriend that you impersonate? How is she feeling?
She's on a business trip at the moment. She's still on her business trip right now at the moment. As far as
when I think of Caden Jackson, the only thing that comes in my mind is owner of a lonely heart. Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
This is hilarious, man.
I can't get over that Jeffrey's more stupid than the Godfather and Austin both.
No, none of them are dumb, Caden. We're not dumb, but I mean, how am I now the dumbest of all just because of that comment? I mean, it is a fact, man.
Can you respect that I have a girlfriend?
No,
My first.
no,
God.
not when you're impersonating her in chat and spelling stuff wrong like you normally do. No, absolutely
Hey,
not.
That's
she's
who
all.
Mary J. Watson was in the chat last week?
That was him, man. That was
Oh,
him.
damn.
No, that is that. Let me clarify, Jackson. You remember that post I made?
Uh-huh.
That was my actual sad girlfriend,
Okay.
and I am not joking.
Okay.
So, and I told her that y'all were claiming that it was me, and then I told her, and she's like, "Well, can you please just tell them that it was actually me?" I'm like, "Yeah, because why would it be me if it's actually her taking out of her own time?"
It literally was you.
I was commenting in the chat as well. Excuse me, how can I do two things at once?
Okay.
You
Like,
were.
I'm not that crazy.
Yeah.
The only thing crazier I've done is, well, I won't say that that's a whole other subject of on my show.
Yeah, your show's gonna get canceled if you say that. Whatever it is. I'm sure.
Man.
We have already been skating on thin ice. We gotta be careful with the censors, man. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, we'd love to really, but the censors won't allow it.
Yeah, well, Mark's dumb rear
Oh,
end is the other thing.
Come on, my guy. Ease it up on the easy on Mark. He's go. Okay, time's
Yeah,
up.
James Jackson's like, I'm done. It's like I'm already done. So let me ask you a question, Caden. How are you feeling about the rest of the playoffs? Even though I know you don't care, but besides that Miami's better than everybody and all that, like objectively looking at all the teams, how you feeling?
I'm still pulling for my homeboys. I'm still pulling for my guys from the 305 to get the job done. If they can get the job done, I won't complain. Because I don't like Ole Miss, don't like Indiana, and I dang sure don't like Oregon.
It's funny that you're rooting for the team that has the most natties. They're the only team with natties. That's the thing. You just root for the champs. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not an underdogs type of guy, man. That's why you probably don't like the movie Hoosiers or Rudy or any of those type of movies. Any of those underdog stories. You're not for that. You're just about the natties and the rings and the Ray Lewis's, the champions. You don't like when underdogs can get their.
And if you didn't see, I have a James Debo Harrison jersey too. I also have a Ray Lewis jersey.
Yeah, I saw the football gloves.
Well, Caden has a side team.
Yeah.
It's more common than you realize.
Yep.
Jeffrey, let me just tell you, I own a James Debo Harrison jersey and Jackson Johnson seen it with those own two eyes.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it on. It was on a Sunday.
Well, yeah, at least we know that's legit.
Yeah.
So I'm texting, and at the moment I am texting back and forth with my guys from Ohio State about setting up a session on a Sunday, so we can get them back on the practice field if the coaches ain't there, because well, I hang out with them on Sundays in the weight room.
Well, all right, man. You enjoyed
yeah, Jackson's like, I don't care about it.
What, Jackson?
I didn't say that. We just gotta get to our next caller in a little bit.
Hey, bring him on. Bring him on. I'm
Jackson's like, no, because then it's gonna be like my show where it just. I probably should do better at limiting having all like 6 people on at the same time, because that is kind of chaotic. But I mean, it is fun. But man, like I can't even think.
Here, Jackson, I'll do you a favor. I won't swear and I won't say anything stupid if you leave me on. How about that? Fair deal. Fair deal. 50-50.
Let's try that on the next college show.
Come on, Jackson. I was just going to tell you. Well, let me ask you this. If Ty Simpson messaged you and said, hey, the boys and I want to invite you down to Tuscaloosa to come hang out with us at the facility, what would you say? Easily yes. If you had the opportunity to wear that crimson and white uniform, you would absolutely say yes.
No.
Oh,
We
yeah, I know you would.
Everybody probably would, but that doesn't mean that you have.
And I've worn a scarlet and gray uniform before. I'll tell you what, that scarlet and gray uniform looks fresh. Way fresher than Alabama's unis, and dang sure way better than Indiana's unis. Because
we were in the playoff longer than you by about 12 hours.
Hey, at least our uniform game is good. Let me just note that on the other hand. And we're King James school. So, y'all ain't. Like, y'all know King James? You ever heard of King
what's
James?
funny, Jackson? I love how it's coming down to uniforms and ratings. Like Cam Newton. I love Cam Newton, man. Great at Carolina Panthers. But that guy was like, the ratings. Oh, the ratings is what the SEC. I don't watch Indiana. I don't care about Indiana. I only watch LSU and Arkansas. I was like, what?
Cam Newton.
Are you kidding me right now? Who cares?
I can bet you $500. Cam Newton has not watched a lot of college football. Cam Newton has not stayed up till 1 a.m. for every one of the games.
That was such a bad take. People clown him for a lot of his take. That was one of the worst takes I've ever seen.
Cam
People
Newton
are now comparing the SEC. Well, the SEC's better because I watched them more.
Man, yeah.
Let me just say this on the other hand to say this. I played a down football. I've watched the college football playoffs as far as it's gone. So I understand where everybody's at. But in my mind, Ohio State's defense needs to really bring it against Miami, and our offensive line really needed to bring it against our offensive lineman needed to bring it against Miami's defensive line. Miami's D-line killed us. Their secondary killed us. And I felt like the ghost of Sean Taylor was on that field. All due respect to Sean Taylor, he's one of my buddy's favorite idols. So, but you know what? It's all right. My boys will be back, and we'll be back to kick more butt and cause more destruction, and they'll be back to raise more hell, and you'll never know that we just raised more hell. So that's a fact. So I'm just going to say that and roll, Buckeyes, roll.
It'll roll Tide. Here we go, and we've got our Nets caller, the real MVP. How you doing tonight, good buddy? Uh-oh. Up his internet. There you are. There you are. How you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing well. How about yourselves?
Oh, doing all right. Just staying busy and keeping on rocking and rolling and getting 2026 started in a nice way.
I'm glad I get to talk to you now, Darrell, because I was wanting to talk to you last night on my live stream because I was saying that we've always had this conversation about how only 3 or 4 teams can win the Natty, right? Like every year.
Yeah.
Well, finally this playoff destroyed it. I know it's going to be frustrating to you because I agree that most of the time that's the case, but because they've expanded the playoff, we just had Georgia and Ohio State lose, and Bama's gone, and now you've got these teams that.
Yeah, that's one way of thinking about it. Or there's the other way, which Indiana may be 21 to 24 points better than everyone else on the field. And these aren't going to be particularly close games if Indiana's lining up. Indiana's, I don't know if they're the most talented team in the country.
They aren't.
They're the best team in the country by a very significant margin this year. They're easily the most consistent team. They're easily one of the best, if not the best defensive team out there. Their offense is really, really good. I could see a scenario where Indiana just wins this thing going away for the final 2 games. They end up 16-0. And if they end up 16-0, people talk about them as the greatest football team of all time and all that stuff. So I do think there is a chance for that happening. And I think if it was Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, not Indiana, people would already have all-time conversations about this Indiana team. Maybe they're not the best team of all time, but they would be the most proven team of all time.
Yeah, because they just played great football. I mean, if they play the way they did in the Rose Bowl in their next 2 games, I don't see how they lose. Now, if they play the way they did against Penn State, or even Iowa, yeah, they could lose because every team's human. But if Indiana keeps the focus, which Cignetti just seemingly has them razor sharp focus right now, it will be hard for them to lose. But yeah, that's the thing, because I do agree with you that I think Indiana is right now playing. They're playing like the best team in college football. I don't want to say they're the best team because they don't have the talent that these other teams have, but they're outplaying the talent, and they're so well coached, and they consistently play hard that they are playing like the best team. And if they win, then yeah, people are going to recognize them as the best team. But it's just because the traditional blue bloods are gone. I just think that, it does hurt the narrative that only 3 or 4 teams can win it all, because nobody picked Indiana to be a national championship contender until now. Maybe some thought after the Oregon game, but most analysts didn't even give Indiana a snowball's chance in heck until they beat Ohio State. And even still, they're like, well, when they face Bama, like even Saban, most analysts were like, Alabama's going to win. So it's just because it's Indiana. Nobody thinks that they're the best team or are playing like one of the top 2 or 3 teams or whatever. So your point kind of still stands in the fact that only 3 or 4 teams can win it all if you include Indiana in that group, because nobody did.
I did. I said Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia for months now. Don't include me with the knuckleheads that weren't football intelligent enough to recognize the number 1 team or number 2 team in the country wasn't good enough.
I wasn't including you in that camp. I'm just saying that a lot of people are going to use this playoff, the 4 teams that are left, to destroy your argument of only 3 or 4 teams can win it all, because people don't include Indiana in that camp.
Well, if I can give you
if it was Alabama, if it's Georgia, it's Ohio State, if it's LSU, if it's Michigan, if it's teams like that, it's fine. I know Miami's a blue blood, but Miami's been dead for so long that most people aren't looking at Miami as like, hey, whatever, they're one of those teams. It's just because they're all gone. Now people are like, well, see, tons of teams can win it all now. Indiana is an anomaly right now. What Cignetti's done is an anomaly. It's an outlier.
Right. Jeffrey, if you want me to give you the black pill perspective on this, people are going to say, particularly from conferences and teams that can't win it all, like the Big 12 or most of the ACC, well, this is why we got to expand to 16. This is why we got to expand to 24, because Indiana and Miami and Ole Miss made it, and they weren't given their shot previously. So if we expand to 16, the 13th or 14th team in the country could win it all. That conversation is going to be had this offseason.
That ain't going to happen, because guess what? Coming into this playoff, Indiana was ranked number 1.
Right, but what if Miami makes the national championship game? People be like, well, Miami was the last team in the field, and they made it all the way to the national championship game. What if BYU got in there? What if Utah got in there? What if Texas got in there? They could have made the national title game. You people are going to say that, Jeffrey.
Honestly, the only team out, and it makes me want to throw up to say, it makes me want to vomit, but the only team outside the college football playoff, besides Notre Dame, that had a legitimate shot to maybe go on a run like that would have been Texas.
Yeah, because of the improvement of Arch Manning over the course of the season. I mean, during watching him during the Michigan game, it's clear that he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. He probably will be the best quarterback in the country next year.
Improved.
Oh, he's greatly improved from the beginning of the season. He basically wielded them single-handedly against that Michigan defense. I mean, they 41 points against them. I know they had a few opt-outs, but Texas had like 12 opt-outs in that game, and they still scored 40 on them. I mean, that's insane. And, Jeffrey, we got to have this conversation. If you've been on any social media platform, or if you've not lived under a rock, the narrative going around there is that the SEC is basically dead. I mean, they died. They've expired. Put the tombstone up. It's over for them. And I just want your thoughts first.
Well, I've talked about this yesterday on the Alabama postgame show and on my channel, and my thoughts are, you can look at this one or two ways, because everybody's saying that they're dead. The bowl games don't matter. I'm sorry. Like, you're using
Wait. Hold on, Jeffrey. They matter if your conference wins. They don't matter if your conference or team loses.
My problem is because what I said, that the bowl games were gimmicky. And then I had to elaborate, because somebody in chat was telling me, what do you mean by gimmicky? What I mean by gimmicky is that they're not a regular game where both teams are giving maximum effort, presumably, to win a game so they can make the playoffs or they can make their championship game or they can whatever. It's a bowl game. You've missed the playoffs. You've got opt-outs. You've got portal guys. You got guys, the teams aren't complete. And we don't know if a particular team's heart is in it. Alabama lost to Michigan last year in the bowl game because Alabama did not even try at all. And it is what it is. And honestly, I have not watched half of the bowl games, but that's what people's argument is, that the SEC's bowl record is trash and that the Big Ten's bowl record is better. I don't still think that that's like just a 100% guarantee that, okay, the Big Ten is so much better all across the board than the SEC because the bowl records are bad in the SEC. Because I don't know how many teams in the SEC actually tried in those bowl games. Now, where I understand where the SEC is declined in people's mind, and it is a legitimate point, is because of the fact that the Big Ten at the top, like Oregon, like Indiana, like Ohio State, have dramatically improved. And the SEC has kind of fumbled the bag recently with your LSUs and your Alabamas and some of these other teams. And only Georgia's kind of held it together. It doesn't mean the SEC's bad. I just don't think that the SEC has this massive gap anymore. The massive gap is gone, I think.
Right. I think the SEC is still a bit better than the Big Ten, but if somebody wants to make legitimate points that the Big Ten's better, that's fine. The craziness is it's not even close. The Big Ten is so much better than the SEC. It's unreal. I saw some guy on Twitter say the Big 12 is better than the SEC.
Yeah, well, that person is just one of those Big 12 people that are just completely delusional. I mean, you can't even make that argument when the only team that you had in your conference that was supposed to be legit got completely wrecked by the third best team in the Big Ten.
Well, and we're looking at
and I know some people are going to say Oregon's the second best team in the Big Ten, but I think they were the third best team in the Big Ten.
They were. Ohio State still second.
SEC teams have sucked it. I know the SEC teams have sucked at bowl season this year. Like Iowa basically manhandled Vanderbilt, basically.
Yeah, 34-27. That's a real butt whooping.
I think Iowa cared more, though. I do think Iowa cared more. I think Vanderbilt, I think that Pavia and all that crap that he did and the smoke and the talk, I think it destroyed their team.
Oh, yeah. Like
I really do.
But it was a 7-point game. I mean, even if, let's say they cared equally, people acted like it's a 21-point loss. They lost by 7 points. It's not a butt whooping is 38-3.
That the SEC had is that Indiana beat Alabama 38-3. And that is terrible because that's not even defendable. It is not.
I was talking about like in the third quarter because I know
that's what the Big Ten used to get versus the SEC. Alabama would be a really good Big Ten team by 30.
Right,
now it's the other way around, and that's hurting.
The third quarter, the ReliaQuest Bowl, Iowa was just smacking Vandy, and I noticed where like Vandy was like, yeah, we gotta get serious. We gotta quit getting upset.
I don't think the bowl games should be indicators. I really don't. I think that when you look at the non-bowl games, I think that the SEC definitely did have a weak year. They did. They were not as strong. They struggled all across the board. A lot of the teams at the bottom of the league were bad. I do think that the conferences were still very comparable. I think that the SEC from top to bottom, maybe until this year, I still don't know. I still want to say that the SEC is better, but prior to this year, the SEC was better top to bottom. The Big Ten has a lot of bad teams at the bottom of the league. There's a lot of bad teams, but they won their bowl games, which again,
if you want, Jeffrey, I can go over some of the results.
For me, it all depends on who the team is, like who the team is. Like, you know, when we saw like the 2025 Alamo Bowl earlier this week, when USC blew their victory against TCU on a 3rd and 20, just allowed a touchdown. And I'm thinking to myself, this is the 4th year of the Lincoln Riley era. You were not hired to be blowing a Cotton Bowl victory against Tulane or doing just enough to have an 8-win season.
He's doing what Clay Helton did, and the only reason he's still hired is because of the contract and because of the notoriety that he had prior to that. They don't want to let him go just yet, but in the recruiting, but it's not looking good.
Exactly.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But yeah, like the bowl games for like Bandy on whether it's like momentum for 2026. It's like we can't really take away from the fact that 2025 was an amazing season for Vanderbilt because I mean it's like they never see 10 win seasons. That's unusual for a school like that. And you're just kind of like looking at Texas, Michigan. It's on the 2026 for them either way. Like Michigan is set for the Willingham era. Texas, we're gonna wait and see whether firing Pete Katowski was the right move or not. Clemson, oh my God, they've got a whole mess to clean up, and it would have been that way whether they won the Pinstripe Bowl or lost the Pinstripe Bowl, no matter what. But yeah,
my favorite part.
Go ahead. I really want to get to this comment really quick. The bowl games are a metric, Jeffrey, among a dozen other metrics. The problem is because people are using it as they are using it as the metric. That is the difference. I'm okay with it being a metric, but it should not be the metric. It's the same thing with the head-to-head. People use the head-to-head as the metric. When there's a lot of other data points and a lot of other examples that should have been used. Again, I understand Miami's turned out to be good. That's fine, but people they get stuck on this point. It becomes a stickler. The bowl games, Jeffrey, the bowl games, the Big Ten's doing better in the bowl games. It's one single metric. And again, the bowl games are a lot more gimmicky now. They are a lot more gimmicky. They are not, you got tons of opt-outs. We don't know who's best players necessarily. And you're watching these games, you can say, well, Vanderbilt's got 12 opt-outs and Iowa's got 10. It's pretty comparable, but who's opted out? Who's opted out? Is it Vanderbilt's better players versus Iowa's bench players? Iowa cared more. Iowa's an 8-4, 9 or 9-4 type of program every year. Vanderbilt got their gut heart, wrenched out of them. They didn't get their Heisman winner. They didn't get to make the playoffs when they were very close. So did they care? There's a lot of examples. And I know people are like, well, the game's the game, Jeffrey. No, it's not the game. Alabama was better than Michigan last year. They didn't show up in the bowl game. They didn't even try in the bowl game. Good job to Michigan. But that does not mean that the Big Ten is better than the SEC because of a bowl result today. This ain't the 90s where the bowl games mattered to everybody. They don't matter anymore. The bowl games are a metric. They should not be used as the metric to determine which conference is better. That's why I get annoyed, because people want to use just that and that alone. There's a lot of other data points, man, to use in that.
Right. And people are treating these bowl games like they're playoff games almost.
They don't matter.
Right. I know.
And I hate that because I love the bowl games, but they don't matter. Like literally, I'm watching the bowl games today, Darrell. The transfer portal. It's National Transfer Portal Day. That matters more.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't disagree with anything you say. But see, Jeffrey, I think what you don't understand is since the bowl results fit my narrative, they matter to me. If they didn't fit my narrative, I wouldn't be talking about them. That's what these people are doing.
But see, I don't have a narrative because I don't care.
I don't care either.
The SEC is better. The results are the results.
Exactly.
You win, you lose. In the regular season, if LSU goes 7-5 and Oregon goes 11-1 in the Big Ten, Oregon's better than LSU. But that doesn't mean that the Big Ten's better than the SEC.
Correct. Like people were freaking out that the SEC is terrible because LSU, to use piggyback off what you were saying, lost to Houston. Houston was the 5th best team in the Big 12. The LSU finished 10th in the SEC. Shouldn't the 10th best team in the SEC lose by about a touchdown to the 5th best team in another league? Or my favorite one was Missouri, Virginia. Virginia went 7-1, finished as the 1 seed in the ACC. Missouri was 4-4, finished 8th or 9th in the SEC. And they had a game-winning touchdown pass in the end zone. And people are like, well, Missouri lost to Virginia. This shows that the SEC isn't good. So it's proven.
At the end of the game, Missouri's quarterback was a walk-on.
Right, but
because their third-string quarterback got hurt, and their starting quarterback was in the portal, Prabula, who got hurt, and their backup got hurt. Then their third-string got hurt. They had a walk-on. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but that doesn't fit the narrative, Jeffrey, that we're trying to create.
Narratives. I hate narratives. I hate when people get stuck on a narrative. And I understand that sometimes I do as well, but it's more of my opinion. And I'm just fighting back against a narrative, per se, that I don't agree with. For all season, I believe that Notre Dame was better than Miami. So that's why I stuck to that point. Again, Miami has proven that they're legitimately good. They just had a couple hiccups. So good job. I concede. Miami, congratulations. But I don't like when people just get stuck on, okay, the Big Ten's better, the SEC's better, the Big 12's better, and then use a bunch of stupid narratives to the SEC in the 2010s was better than the Big Ten, and everybody agreed with that. It was they were way better. It was not even close. The results were there. Now it's with the money, the Big Ten is caught up with the money and the media rights deal and the NILs and all this kind of crap. They're getting tons of players from the South. The Big Ten is caught up, and it's close. But I don't know how we can legitimately compare which one's better unless every single team in the SEC plays every single team in the Big Ten every single season. If you did that, then I think we could kind of get some determination there. But we don't do that. So you got some gimmicky bowl games to compare, maybe a non-conference game or two to compare, and that's about it.
Right. Well, you can also look at the other results and make a projection based on it. Like, for example, UCLA got killed by New Mexico and UNLV. Odds are they're not going to beat most teams in the SEC. I think that's fair to say. And that
I was seeing where Minnesota, where they were one of the Big Ten teams they were winning, they beat New Mexico in overtime. I don't really think that's a team that's going to be beating Mississippi State next year. I mean, because it's like this some I've seen from like Minnesota is where they lose their non-con game, they have a slow start, and then they have like a great finish, which is like a pretty sloppy slate. Like that's something I've noticed about like one of the teams that are like bragging, oh well, Big Ten won. It's like, yeah.
They also, by the way, Minnesota lost to California at the beginning of the year. California, not good because they lost to Hawaii in their bowl game. I know it's just one game, but it's a key. If you lose to a group of 5 team with most of your players in your bowl game, not good.
Then
not
Cal beat Louisville.
Yeah, I think like
Miami.
Cal.
Yeah,
that is where you start getting that whatever that
transitive property.
Transitive property. Because again, Cal when they played Louisville looked all right. Cal when they played Hawaii looked like crap.
Right, they won in overtime, but the point of the matter is a team can only be so good if they lose to Hawaii. Your national championship level team is not losing to Hawaii.
I will say the only defense to Cal is because they did get better as the season progressed because their quarterback, JKS, whatever his Saga Pulatele, his last name
but they lost their bowl game.
That guy was a true freshman, and when he played Hawaii, he sucked because he was new. And by the time they played Louisville and some of their other ACC opponents, he actually was all right.
No, so Hawaii was their final game of the season, Jeffrey.
Oh,
You're
Hawaii
thinking
was the final game of the season. Okay, well, my bad. Incorrect on my part. Cal is okay. They're okay.
Yeah, they're solid.
I get what you're trying to say, but
they're the 50th best team in the country. But for an average Big Ten team to lose to California is a bad result. Is the point I'm making.
I thought Miami was a bad team because they lost to Louisville and SMU, but then they've turned around and they've beaten Texas A&M and Ohio State. It's kind of hard. Indiana barely beat Penn State and Iowa, but yet they just beat the brakes off Alabama.
See, and I can't.
Alabama is better than Iowa and Penn State.
Well, and I'm going to be honest. When
That's
people,
why I hate comparing results. You cannot. I'm sorry to keep interrupting you, Jackson, but you cannot compare a singular result and say that this team is better than this team. You just can't do that. Alabama is not worse than Florida State, but they lost to them. That's why head-to-head is not a super significant statistic to me.
Well, I was going to say is I cringe a lot when I hear people say, oh, well, you won a title against Iowa. That means you're not going to have a good year. Well, here's the thing, though. It's very difficult to win at Kennett Stadium. That's something I've seen throughout the Kurt Ferentz era, where anytime you see a top 10 team or a top 5 team going against Iowa on the road, it's always a tight one, no matter who you are. You're either having a close win or you get upset. Case in point, this season, Oregon had a tight one against the Iowa Hawkeyes. And Jeffrey, you mentioned Indiana winning a tight one against Iowa. I mean, if Kirk Cincinnati and Indiana are having a tight one at Iowa and Kennett Stadium on the Peacock app, you know it's going to be rough business for anybody having to go to Kennett Stadium. No matter.
Yeah, and by the way, what I was thinking when you were referencing Hawaii was they lost to San Diego State 34-0 at the beginning of the season. California did. California lost 34-0 to San Diego State, which is the worst team.
Yeah, they lost
Hawaii.
to two G5 teams.
And then after that, they turned around and they beat Louisville and SMU. And I don't think that Louisville and SMU are that bad because both of those teams beat Miami.
Right. But
so again, I get what you're saying. Hawaii is decent. It was a home cooking game for them as well in the bowl game because it was the Hawaii Bowl. I know what you're saying. I understand exactly what you are saying. But when you start to compare results, I can destroy the narrative in 2 seconds because California is not a great football team, but they still beat two teams that beat Miami.
Right, but when we're evaluating a team over the course of the season, you have to take every result into consideration.
Which is why Notre Dame should have been in the playoffs.
And to me, well, that's a little step too far, and that's a different conversation for a different day. But when you're evaluating teams and they have a big separation in record, or they have extreme outliers at the top and bottom, we can kind of infer that their team performance overall somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
John says, Jeffrey, wrong about Iowa and Penn State. They would beat Bama.
Penn State might beat Bama because their metrics are very, very good. Like,
yeah, I tried to say that, Darrell. Remember when people were like, well, Indiana barely beat Penn State. Penn State was ranked 19th in FPI.
Right. I don't know if they play Alabama as a significant favorite. They might be like, I'm just guessing here, but 7-10 sounds about right to me. Like, I know the records are completely different, but I think Penn State's probably, in terms of metric-wise, one of the top 20 teams in the country, despite their awful record.
Yeah, which is why record means nothing to me. It doesn't matter. Virginia, to me, Penn State's a better football team than Virginia, which, again, is going back to your Cal point, which is where I agree with you. But, again, it's just hard to say because bad teams have good days. Bad teams have good performances. And how UCLA had that 3-game run where we were like, oh, my gosh, UCLA could go to the Big Ten championship game if they went out. And I remember those conversations, and I was like, heck no, not happening. You remember that? You remember why? Why in the world were people saying that UCLA was going to go to the Big Ten championship game? I understand that it was a scenario that could occur if they won out, but they weren't. No, they were bad. They had a little run. That's all they had. The rest of the season, they were awful. They had the little run. For that little run, they were actually okay. They were a competitive team, and they were decent. But after that, it all went down the tubes. But people forget about all that because then they move to a different narrative. That's why I don't like narratives, because people create narratives based off a couple things, and then when it's just completely blown out of the water, people move on to different narratives.
Here's to hope that Bob Chesney can make some magic at UCLA. Kind of like how
what is Darrell's response to that?
I think you're right. I think there's a fine line in the middle between record and performance, and I think that is the subjectivity of the sport. Because I do think metric-based analysis is valid, but I also do think record on the field, the performance on the field has to matter. Now, there's also context of who you're playing, when you're playing, how you're playing, and all that stuff. So for me, I would like to compromise it and put it more towards metric performance, because all we're doing is going by your record, which is absolutely killing the sport right now, because you're having 1-loss teams and 2-loss teams get ahead, in my opinion, of legitimate teams that are better with 3 or 4 losses. And I know it's sad to say, but listen, when you expand this thing so far, that's just gonna happen.
Yeah. I agree with John. It's called moving the goalpost, and it absolutely is. And I just get frustrated because I don't forget what people say. I remember the exact same people that said that UCLA could go to the Big Ten championship game if they went out, and I legitimately believe that they can because they turned it around with Prince Charming and all those other dudes, and it's like and everything, and it's like no, and then when that dies, and it's like, well, Indiana's not a good team because they barely beat Penn State, and Penn State in the metrics was still a top 20 team because they had the talent, they play like trash, it's just people just. The narratives, no. The Big Ten and the SEC are both elite conferences, and they're way better than everybody else. They're way better than the Big 12 and the ACC, and it's gotten very tight. But it is very hard to determine which conference is better just based off some bowl games and just based off some non-conference performances or whatever. It is very hard because, like, I had a comment pulled up earlier with the Nebraska and LSU both being the 10th. Best teams in their respective leagues. You're using two teams that both regressed once their quarterback got injured. You know what I'm saying? And I understand Nussmeier wasn't good, but LSU was still a better football team when they had him versus the Van Buren guy, who somehow maybe is actually related to Martin Van Buren. I actually heard on a broadcast, which is pretty hilarious. And then Nebraska got way worse when they lost Raiola. It doesn't matter how bad Raiola is. When he went down, they were winning the USC game. And when he went down, their season just ended. It was over. It was dead. All right. So you're comparing two teams that ended up 10th in their respective leagues, but weren't 10th to begin with. I still think LSU is better than Nebraska. But again, using two teams that are actually very, very hard to compare based off the results that did occur to each team during the season.
Right. But isn't that what makes the sport so fun? I mean, if we had all this thing just figured out by numbers and analytics and stuff, that'd be pretty boring in my opinion.
I agree.
To me,
but how can we determine that though?
Well, we can use context over the course of the season, the results, how well they performed against good teams, how well they performed against bad teams. And to me, that's why I think LSU's better. Is because against the better teams, LSU performed better than Nebraska did. I know both quarterbacks went down, so I consider that a wash because I don't know who's more valuable to their team than Garrett Nussmeier, Dylan Raiola. So, and after their injury, I think LSU performed better, particularly in their non-conference bowl game compared to Nebraska, where they absolutely got killed and they were down 30. So, to me, it's not even really close. It's LSU by a pretty significant margin. It's better than Nebraska. And I think...
Yeah, because I think at the beginning of the season, LSU was better than the 10th team in the SEC by a substantial amount. And Nebraska, at their best, was probably like a couple spots higher than 10th. But they both ended up...
Right. And to me, LSU's got the best win, which is on the road at Clemson, which is why it was also really funny when the Big Ten, I don't know if you remember this, Jeffrey, started off 5-0 in bowl play, and people were capping that off with the Penn State over Clemson win, saying, this is why the Big Ten's better than the SEC. Penn State just beat Clemson. Despite earlier in the beginning of the year, LSU went on and beat Clemson at Clemson, which basically means that results a wash for both teams. People just want to fit their narrative.
Comparing a bunch of results because Cal is not a good team, but they beat Louisville and SMU, who beat Miami, who beat Ohio State. It's a transitive property thing. We can do it all day, but it doesn't mean that a team is better. I agree with you that you can use some eye tests, which is why I use a lot of eye tests. I tell people all the time, hey, I think this team is better than this team just by looking at them. I don't have any stats. I don't have any data, but I think that this team is better than this team because they just look better to me, man. Even if the record's worse or whatever. And there are examples of that. I think Penn State's a better team than a lot of teams that won 9 or 10 games. For real.
Oh, absolutely.
I think they were a better team, even though they went 7. But most people would tell me I'm delusional and insane and crazy.
No, they're better than Virginia and Houston for sure.
They are. And healthy Penn State, when they cared, you could even say that they're maybe even comparable to a Vanderbilt. I mean, they're probably better than Vanderbilt when the roster's better than Vanderbilt, but you know what I'm saying? Like, Penn State declined because they gave up. They fell down the tubes, and then people were just clowning on them saying they were trash. But that game against Indiana proved not that Indiana was bad, but that Penn State still had gas left in the tank, that they still cared.
That's what happens when you lose. That's honestly what happens when you lose to Northwestern, UCLA. Especially when you let the Oregon game affect you that much to where you're not even thinking about Northwestern or UCLA. That is what
Tulane has more star players than Indiana does.
Yeah. No.
No. I did want to respond to the comment that said the Big Ten has a better record than the SEC. Because when you go through the results and compare them head to head, it's very close. Notre Dame and Alabama, who's better? The SEC beat Michigan twice. That's about the same level to me as Texas and Illinois combined. Mississippi State, the 1-7 SEC team, beat Arizona State, which is by far the best result in all of conference play. I mean, that's a miracle. A 1-6 team beat a 6-3 team. 6-3.
Mississippi State is still trailing Wake Forest 36-29 as of right now.
Right, but isn't that a solid result for the SEC? The 15th or 14th best team in the SEC is one possession in a neutral site game behind a ACC team that went 4-4. To me, that's a very solid result.
Forest beat Kennesaw State 10-9.
I'm not saying Wake Forest is a good team, but they have shown over the course of the season that they can win games. They beat SMU, for example,
They're
Jeffrey.
like Cal.
Exactly.
They're like Cal.
Exactly.
They have a game or two in them.
Yes, they're a capable football team. So to me, when you have a team in the SEC who's proven not to be capable because they lose every game they play except for the one team that's below them in the standing, Arkansas, that's a pretty solid result for the SEC. But people look at the end result and say, well, SEC 1-7 in bowl games don't matter anymore.
This comment here says Big Ten record is better than SEC. But what I laugh at is when people talk about the conference record. They'll say, "Oh, well, this conference is conference record is better." And it's like all of the conferences are 500 in conference play. Every conference, like that take makes zero sense. You average it out, and every conference, because they all play each other, are going to have a 500 conference record.
Yeah, I'm assuming he's talking about non-conference play.
I think he is, but I'm just saying that's why the record thing makes me laugh, because a lot of people talk about conference record, and literally that's 500 among every team.
Which I don't think that's even true, because the SEC went 12-4 in non-conference play, and they're now 13-10. I think the Big Ten was 5-6. So I don't think they've quite matched the SEC in terms of record. Even straight up, because there's
you're including the bowl games.
Yes, their results. I'm counting them.
I don't think those matter as much.
I know, but I'm just giving. I'm even saying if you count every bowl game, every result that's been happening, I still think the SEC has a slightly better record. Yeah, Illinois beat Tennessee, a 4-4 SEC team, a 5-4 Big Ten team play. The Big Ten team won on a walk-off field goal and
that was a comparable game, though. That was like both opponents were like everybody was propping up Alabama for beating Tennessee, and nobody propped up Indiana and Ohio State for beating Illinois. The two teams were basically very, very similar.
They're the same team. They played an evenly game. What did we learn from that game? They're very equal. They're two equal teams, and that's what you
play that game again. Tennessee wins.
Maybe. Illinois
Indiana's win over Illinois was really impressive. Like, especially when you saw like Kirk having the angry face after the game. Like, even when they got like a 60-point win. But with like Ohio State, it's kind of you're supposed to beat Illinois. Like, that's kind of how it is in Columbus. It's like Ohio State.
We're not even getting anywhere with any of this. We can't prove which conference is better. It's
right, which is why this debate will always rage on, Jeffrey, and that's what makes college football so great. It
frustrates me because people legitimately think the Big Ten is better right now than the SEC. When at one time the SEC could legitimately say it was better, I do not think we have a lot of legitimate evidence here. I think that the Big Ten at the top is better because they're performing better. But the whole conference is at large. You're just comparing a bunch of results. Mm-hmm. They're not that significant.
Yeah, Wake Forest just scored, and now it's 42-29. Game is over for Mississippi State, very likely. Darrell, anything else you got for us tonight, good buddy?
No, it was a pleasure talking to you.
Always.
I can't wait for you guys got a lot of work to do this offseason. And transfer portal. You need to get better across the entire board. You were showing you were not good enough anywhere throughout the entire point in the game. That means you got to get better everywhere.
Oh,
You all will definitely get players. Hopefully they turn out well for you all, and hopefully you all get significantly better, because that's what it's going to take to return to the top. Because there is a massive gap, and there is a new person on the scene, and there is a new team in town, and they probably are going to stay for at least a few years. And everybody's going to have to deal with it. Indiana, to me, probably now, worst case scenario, they're like the Clemson from the 2010s. Solid team, improved to an elite team, elite program. So Alabama's got to figure out how to deal with it. They did it with the 2010s. Hopefully they can figure out a way for your all's sake to deal with it now. But anyway, gentlemen, I'm going to get going. It's a pleasure talking to you, Jeffrey. And congrats on your
conversation. I always love
Always.
talking to you, man, about all these things, because we have great back and forth, and it's awesome. I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate it from your end, because you're very respectful and you don't try to dunk on people. Unlike most of the people out there whose goal is to dunk on you or pull out the straw
I
man.
just do it for the sake of the argument. Like I appreciate that. I don't like dunking on people. The only reason we all do it to Caden, because Caden he just does it to himself. But other than that, I don't like doing that, because I like having the conversation back and forth. And I can't stand when I'm having a conversation with somebody on like Twitter or whatever, and then they're just like, "You're a moron," and I'm just like, "Yeah, okay, great. You don't agree with me. I'm a moron. Whatever. We're not getting anywhere. Why can't we just have a conversation back and forth about something that we disagree with, and maybe find some common ground?" But instead, I'm a moron. I'm not calling you a moron back, but you're calling me a moron just because I don't agree with you.
Right. Or you don't do the thing that is very annoying as well, which is the straw man argument, which is you say something that is true, but they pull out the one example that completely says, well, this thing didn't also happen. So this one exception invalidates your entire rule that you were talking about. So I appreciate you not doing that either, Jeffrey. And that's why I enjoy these conversations so much.
I appreciate it, Darrell. Definitely. I was thinking about you yesterday. I was like, man, I really want to talk to Darrell, and I'm sure we're going to have a lot of crazy talks and conversations this offseason, hopefully. So, because, I mean, you got to talk about something, right? We'll be talking about which conference better and the portal and everything crazy.
Yeah, we'll be talking about. I guess
what we won't do like you. We'll make sure to keep you updated on portal updates for the Crimson Tide, recruiting updates on Crimson Tide, and you'll definitely see some special guests coming soon this off season.
My last question for you, Darrell, before you go, is Alabama the new Clemson? Everybody's wanting to say that.
Oh God, no,
no. They're not the new Clemson yet. Give it 2 or 3 years, and then if they keep going this downward trend, we can have that conversation. Way too early.
I agree.
If we were the new Clemson, we would be getting slapped by SMU. But we appreciate Darrell calling in.
Florida State, but I mean, again, week 1. I mean, just to preface, but we're not Clemson. We're not Clemson. Yeah. We just got to get better.
There we go. And we got Pitt Snipe Husker joining us, and I believe this is the first time he's called in on the Alabama Call-In Show. How you doing tonight, good buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you guys feeling?
Oh, we're doing all right. Doing all right.
Boy, we had a rough week, did we not?
Yeah, but I've got a feeling things will be all right, especially for 2026. I mean,
for Nebraska, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think we're at, we look like we're just at the let's just start over point again. Again. For criminy sakes, that was an abomination and an embarrassment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when Raiola got hurt, the season was over. I mean, it sucks, but Raiola wasn't great, but I mean, he was definitely the only thing Nebraska had at the quarterback position. It wasn't no situation like Pittsburgh where they brought in their backup quarterback. Holstein started the year, and then Hanschel or whatever came in, and he was better. You know, or like there's examples of that happening, but it doesn't occur often. Like when Raiola went down, I mean, Nebraska probably would have beat USC if Raiola did not get hurt, and that would have been something for Nebraska. That would have been a win against a fringish, top 15 team and 20 team, and it would have looked good. And then Nebraska could have maybe gone 9-3-ish, and then it would have been better. But because he went down, then they went 7-6, and it sucks because it still looks bad. But I mean, Nebraska was better this year when he was there.
Yeah, I think we're dealing with a lot of things. Coach Rule seemed to have an idea of what his offense was supposed to be, even though he had an offensive mind like Dana Holgerson. It's kind of like we're back in the old Pelini situation where we got Bo messing around with some of the best offensive coordinators in the game. And we know this because they went on to Ohio State and Texas and were successful. So I think that's kind of what was going on. And I think that is gotten resolved, that we're going to let Dana Holgerson be Dana Holgerson. You call the plays, you get them ready. Let's do this.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't have the manpower to create a pocket. And that is absolutely what Dylan Raiola needs. He is going to be a pocket passer and a good one. When you watch him in his better games, his instincts in the pocket are good. But once you start getting him a little scattered, well, he's everywhere. And he's starting to make these underhand, behind the back Mahomes throws, which are real cute and all. But criminy sakes, man, can we get someone on a fly route someday? So it sucks to lose a legacy player like Dylan Raiola and Dayton Raiola, for that matter. But I think we're moving in a better direction with quarterbacks that are more fit to Dana Holgerson's style of play.
I don't disagree with that. I mean, I hope whoever's the quarterback, I keep seeing some guy named Kenny or whatever. I forgot his last name, but a lot of people are talking about him going to Nebraska. And that's a complete wild card. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it could work. It's just, I mean, the problem is Matt Rule's running out of time. You know, like I know he just got an extension, which I still think was bad. I don't agree with the extension. I know why they did it to keep him from going to Penn State, but I mean, that to me was not a good extension. But he's in a situation where it's like now he's got the extension, so it's like he's safe and Nebraska's committed to him. But the thing is that he has another 7 and 5 or a year or two. It's just, I don't know, man. Like Nebraska, they crave so hard to be what they were, and it's like they're like even Matt Rule says Cignetti's making every coach look bad, especially coaches like Matt Rule, who is not able to turn around Nebraska fast. It's like, you know, Cignetti took Indiana from 3-9, and now they're the number one team in the country, and Nebraska's still trying to just be relevant, like win 9 games. And they were close this year, but if he can't do that in the next year or two, even with the extension, it's just going to be very hard to foresee him being that coach in Nebraska. And it's just, and you're just going back to rebuilding again with a new coach. And I mean, that's been the biggest problem for Nebraska, has been a revolving door of coaches for the last 15 years.
Well, to Rule's credit, and I gotta, you know, I can't deny that I'm having my doubts about Matt Rule right now too. All right. But to his credit, if he were to leave tomorrow, he leaves us better than he found us.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We're in a better place than we were. Ultimately, you know, at least you're going to see in this offseason, he's going to press every button. He's going to throw every lever. He's going to flip every switch. He's going to pull out every trick, including turning his damn hat around backwards. Yeah, that was a gimmick. We're going to let that pass. But he's doing his thing. We at least got a line coach. Oh, my God. We were tied to the whole Raiola family, and that was not good for us. That was not good. And Uncle Donnie didn't do Dylan Raiola any freaking favors with that O-line.
No.
So at least start there. For criminy sakes, can we get it straight in the trenches? We also got kicked in the junk when, what's his name? White went to Florida State. Y'all saw him week 1. And you came out on the short end of the stick because that 3-3-5 can be confusing as hell. But it's kind of a gimmick. If you don't know how to work it and you ain't got the athletes for it, it's just a gimmick. And everyone went to school on Alabama's loss, and look what happened to Florida State this year. But Tony White took every bit of he took every bit of ass we had on our defensive line. I mean, we're out there with 275 guys playing nose for criminy sakes. So that has to get fixed in the offseason. We're still waiting to hire that next defensive line coach. I can't spit the one out that we already hired. He's outside defensive line. Yeah, we're still working on it, bro. I can't talk no trash. I don't know where we're going to be next year. It's a hot goddamn mess.
I just hope to see Alabama and Nebraska schedule home and home for the future, to tell you the truth. Because, I mean, I did see where today was the 59th, I believe it's the 59th edition. And sorry to mention this in advance, Pitt Snipe Husker, but today was the 59th anniversary of the 1967 Sugar Bowl, where Alabama smacked Nebraska 34-7 because they wanted to show the pollsters what a bad move they made.
Yeah.
By saying, hey, wait a minute, you're forgetting about us. Shouldn't we get some national title? Shouldn't we be a part of the conversation too? I know you don't like us too much, but give us something. And I can tell you right now, what you want to do, Pitt, is go on YouTube, over the weekend, or watch a little bit of that, and you'll hear like Bear Bryant sounds like a 40-year-old man. He sounds like a 30-year-old dad for some reason. Like it's like I think he was like in his 50s. No, he was 53 at that time when he was like talking about the Sugar Bowl. So he sounded more like a 30-year-old, I swear. But that's just me.
Well, the Bear, I got forever respect for the Bear, and he had his respect for Bob Devaney. Go forward in time, Tom Osborne and Bobby Bowden, they collaborated every dang offseason. There's only one reason why we got to where we were in 95, 96, and 98. It was because of that collaboration. And so I'm absolutely at Florida State. But now on the Alabama topic, man, I'm really thinking that Alabama's new fun rival that I'm really enjoying is Oklahoma. That's a good matchup. That's a good ball game, and people are going to tune in for that across the country. I would absolutely love a home and home with Alabama, but y'all got to let us get up to fighting weight, if you would, please.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, 1977 and 1978 were definitely fun, no doubt about it. Because, I mean, like, even though Alabama, like, smacked Nebraska in 78, but on the bright side for Nebraska basically had a good time with us in 1977.
I think it's just a couple of great fan bases that would enjoy sharing the stands together. We can have a beer, y'all.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah,
no doubt about
people
it.
love Nebraska fans. Like Nebraska is always like consistently rated as having the best fans or one of the best fans, like the nicest fans per se. Like you don't see a lot of. I mean, like it was a little bit before the Indiana game in 24 when Indiana was on the rise with Signetti, and Nebraska fans were kind of like, "Oh man, Indiana sucks. We're gonna beat them." And then when Indiana won 56-7, Nebraska was like, "All right. Yeah, shouldn't have said that. We're good." And then it's back to being chill again. Like most of the time, like Nebraska fans are always chill, even on social media, which is hard for any fan base to say that they are. Because Ohio State fans, Bama fans, Michigan fans, Georgia fans, Tennessee fans, Miami fans, they're just unbearable. A lot of them on there, rude, like, "Oh, we're better than you," all that kind of stuff. Nebraska fans are pretty nice, which is crazy overall.
We try. I mean, one of our founding concepts, part of our ethos is be a good host. It ain't that hard. You offer people a chair, you offer them a drink. You're a good god dang host, period. And that's some of that Scandinavian, that's what we are. And I love that. I love that. And I want people to want to come to Lincoln. It's a place you wouldn't want to come to for nothing else but football. And at least we can keep that going. And if any of our people are out there acting without class, they ain't ours. They can go to hell. Yeah, I know we all got our buttholes. We all got our butts. And, I've always had a great time with Alabama fans. My Alabama fans were some of my best buddies in the Navy, and we had a good time with it. The Penn State and Ohio State and Michigan fans, oh no, they were totally rambunctious all the dang time. But so I was glad to get into the Big Ten when we did. But yeah, we got some stuff to figure out. We got some stuff to figure out, just like Alabama's got some stuff to figure out. And again, let us get up to fighting weight and let's schedule that home and home. I'm down with it.
Oh, there we go. We'll have to make sure like our team's ADs get on the same board. And I also want to be able to see Nebraska be able to play Oklahoma annually. But, I guess I have to wait for I guess we gotta wait a few more years for Nebraska, Oklahoma to play. I mean, I know they got a future home and home, but I mean, hey, anything's better than nothing. So that's the way I'm looking at it. I just want Notre Dame USC back, but that's another time for Nerd Day. This is not the place for me to go on a venting session about it.
Sure. Going to call out Russell in the comments there. He keeps bringing it up that, by golly, our basketball team's undefeated.
Oh,
we're as surprised as everybody else. Holy crap.
Yeah, Fred.
Yeah, I'm shocked. Like Nebraska, when they remember that Casey Tominaga, like he brought some juice to Nebraska basketball, but it's like now, unless they fade in the second half of the season, I'm not seeing it. Nebraska's legit.
Jeffrey, I think you said this once. I don't know if it was you or somebody else, but I know you've said it a few times. Nebraska football and Indiana basketball are a lot alike, and
yeah, they're eerily similar.
And here's another eerily similar comparison. Are you ready for this one? Indiana football and Nebraska men's basketball.
Yeah, we flipped the table.
And that's the thing, though. Like the magic that we're seeing Nebraska men's basketball pulling off. I mean, like they're on beat. I'm like, wait a minute, Nebraska basketball, nice. Like what Fred Hoiberg is doing is definitely the definition as to why you should be as patient as much as possible with your head coach.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they gave him time.
Yes.
I mean, there was years where it was like, oh, his record is like 35%, 40%. He should get fired. And it's like they stuck by him. I mean, you don't see that anymore. And it's a shame because I really feel like some coaches that get fired, it was just so premature. You gave him 2-3 more years, it would have worked. But everybody wants the instant turnaround now because of the Signettis and other examples where that's been the case. And it's like Hoiberg. It took a long time, but the results are paying off now.
Well, and I think like people have always been like that. If it wasn't like Signetti, it'd be somebody else, and it gets increasingly like the patience is even less every year, not just in college football, but also college basketball. You think it's bad college football, college basketball. It's worse than the NFL. And if you think it's worse than the NFL, it's way worse than the NBA.
Yeah, you remember Adrian Griffin, the Bucks coach, man.
Uh-huh.
Dude was like, he had like a 72% win percentage, and after 30 games, they fired him.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I mean, we ain't had a basketball coach since Danny Nee. Criminy sakes. And Hoiberg, yeah, he's been through his struggles for sure, but it seems like he has a plan, and we tend to win some games we shouldn't on the basketball court. And this year, yeah, somehow they're pulling it together. I'm really impressed. I'm shocked.
There you go.
Now, we also took it in the teeth with our volleyball team earlier this month. It's been a rough month, bro. God dang, our girls didn't lose a game all season. Criminy, they went a month and didn't lose a match. And then poops, Texas A&M, son of a buck.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, it was so funny you saw the meme, right, Jackson, with the guy with the Texas A&M national champions tattoo, and then people were like, "Well, at least it was accurate for volleyball."
Oh man, it's
That was hilarious to me.
Hey, man, I'm a girl dad and I'm a girl grandpa, and I really love the way my folks are embracing volleyball.
oh wow.
Dad,
How
we're
did
going to light this sport up. Let's bring it to prime time, and those girls are freaking ninjas. They are magic.
Oh wow, how many kids and grandchildren do you have, man?
I got 2 kids. I've got 2 grandkids now. My daughter just married into a relationship where I've got a granddaughter now. I mean, there should be a law against that.
Oh, well, congrats, man. That's awesome,
That
man.
congratulations for sure.
Well, thank you. They were looking great for Christmas, and so I had a good time, even though the football ain't going the way we like and everything else. My people is healthy. I got my kid's car in the shop up on the rack. It's a big hot mess, y'all. But we'll get her hooked up. We'll get her taken care of.
There you go, man.
I
Well,
got nothing else for y'all. And yeah, move on to your next caller or close this out tonight, fellas. I just glad I got to talk to you. Jeffrey, have you taken your meds? You look like you're just been getting a little off the hook there, brother.
I appreciate it, Pitts. I get passionate about some topics. I do. But then I'm all good. I appreciate it. I don't know. I'm not on meds. I don't need meds. I'm good. I guess my meds is college football. I love football, and I just hate some things that are happening to the sport, and I hate the narratives that are around the sport because of it. But that's why we talk about it. And if you're not passionate about something, then you don't love it. So that's just the way I feel about it. Sometimes I get very passionate, and maybe I go a little crazy, but I try to simmer it back down.
Well, I have a lot of fun at your expense, buddy, and you're a really, really, really good sport. And if I ever offend, I apologize. I'm just playing, and I'm just getting a giggle. That's all I'm doing. And I love what y'all do so much. I'm going to be back next year, goddammit. And Bama better get their shit together. That's what I'm saying. All right?
well, I will say we will
Right.
definitely make sure Bama is getting their stuff together, especially with some of the portal players that we're hoping to get, which I think we should, because but we will let you know in a little bit. All righty, Pitt. Thank you so much for calling in, and we hope to see you again next week. Don't be next week or the week after next. Like, don't be a stranger.
Take care, brothers. Be safe.
Appreciate it, Pitts. Happy New Year.
Oh man, we got some comments like asking us portal news. Yes, matter of fact, we talked a little bit about Hollywood Smothers from North Carolina State. And Caleb Taylor is saying, I would love to get Cam Coleman, Hollywood Smothers, and the linebacker from Virginia Tech. You're talking about Caleb Woodson. There we go. Yeah. Caleb Woodson's gonna be huge.
Cam Coleman will be big, and ironic that he transferred from Auburn.
Well, this guy, Chase Hendricks. This should be a huge win if we can get Chase Hendricks to come on over. And matter of fact, we're looking at how he spent 3 seasons with Ohio, and he played a huge part in the victory over West Virginia, and the close but no cigar game against Rutgers.
I picked Ohio in that game.
Oh man,
against West Virginia.
Oh man, and it says during that time he got 122 receptions, 1,616 yards, 8 touchdowns, first 3 games against Power 4 opponents. He reeled in 20 receptions for 212 yards and for 2 touchdowns. And we've got some highlights of him. So this is what he was doing against Ohio. Let's go ahead and take a look, shall we? Boom.
MAC receivers and just group of 5 receivers in general typically can translate. I mean, they don't all do, but I mean, he usually like guys like him, you're undersized with a lot of speed, they can still be game changers in the return game and, as a slot receiver. So, I mean, it wouldn't be bad to bring him on board.
Oh, no doubt, man. Like it would be a huge win if we can get him to come over. And, just kind of like looking at the 16 schools that he's heard from and this, yeah, there's no way he's going to Washington State. No way.
16 schools. I mean, graphics like that. I remember when it was like 4.
This looks like clickbait.
16 schools. I mean, come on, man.
Like
you can't tell me that he's legitimately sitting in his room like, I got all these schools. Which, dude, he's probably on that list, maybe like 3 or 4 that he's legitimately intrigued by. He's no way that he's legitimately like 2% of his attention is going to all 16 of these schools or whatever. You get what I'm trying to say. Like he's no, that's hilarious.
I mean, it's like freaking Cal.
He's not going to Cal. He's not going to Washington State. He's not going to stuff like that.
Especially when we've had like a few of our backup wide receivers just kind of like saying, "Oh, we're going to go elsewhere for 2026." But I mean, I feel pretty good about our receiving core for 2026 and beyond. I mean, yeah. I mean, we are going to have Ryan Williams returning. I mean, we are going to have We've got Meadows, and last name is catching me, but it's going to take me a minute. But we've got some 2026 guys for the recruiting class. Oh man, I swear his name is going to get to me. It will get to me. I promise you. Cedarian Morgan. We did a deadgum live stream on him. I swear. Like, ugh. Note to self, I really need to make sure I've got like 20 things on notes for sure. But yeah, it's like, come join a winner, Hendricks. Come join a winner. That's why I say to Chase Hendricks. And, we were also talking about some tight ends. A little while ago tonight, we heard about we need some tight ends. We need them like a baby needs milk. So we've got a New Mexico tight end. These are some of his highlights against Michigan. And his name is Dorian Thomas. Let's go ahead. Oh, there we go. How you feel about this one, Jeffrey?
I mean, it looks like he's capable. Tight end's a tough, position anyway to recruit. I feel like, because I mean, every year you have a few good tight ends, but like most of them are only just good at blocking. It's tough to have a truly, two-dimensional like tight end where he's a great receiver and a good blocker. But I mean, he seems good. I mean, I'm seeing him catch the ball well, but I wonder if he's good at blocking as well.
Well, we'll definitely see. Well, I think you're getting your answer.
I mean, I look pretty good.
Oh, he looked good. Oh, there we go. Oh, we're seeing what he can do in the screen. Oh, he's just making life miserable for that Michigan defense. My God. Wow. Holy Toledo. Well, there's your answer again on the blocking.
That's definitely encouraging.
He's just like, no, you call this place the big house? Hell no, I call this my house. He's just like getting feisty with him. I tell you what. Oh, there he is. Watch again. He's like, out of my way. Man. I hope we get him. And matter of fact, he had 56 receptions for 560 yards, 4 touchdowns. And these were the 10 catches for 71 yards and the 2 touchdowns against Michigan they had. I mean, shout out to our buddy Brody Smoot from Crimson Coverage for this footage. And, he asked, would you like to see Alabama target Thomas? I'll go first and say 3 words. Yes, definitely. Absolutely.
I mean, I second that. His footage looked good. I mean, Michigan's a big team. They didn't have the best year in the world, but they're a big program. And I mean, for him to put up, those type of plays, out there against a team like that. I mean, it definitely seems, like he could translate to Alabama. It's just tough with players like that. You just don't know if they're going to translate, but you never know until you sign them. I mean, if Alabama's interested in him, that's a good thing.
Oh man, it's a huge win for the Crimson Tide. Like, I would love to see him come over to Bama. Like, I mean, get some more tight end magic, get some more receiving core, and I will say, the more the merrier. And we've got some defense. We're hoping to get some guys that are really good, like Caleb Woodson. He's going to visit Alabama on the 4th of January on Sunday. And throughout 3 seasons, he's totaled 151 tackles, 3 pass deflections, 2 sacks, and 1 interception. And, we're going to wait and see what happens. He's 6'3", 230 pounds. And I can guarantee we've got some highlights of him. Let's go ahead and find him, shall we? Because I'm going to tell you, this guy is going to be magical all right here. I mean, he's going to be coming back. Yeah, he's not running it back. Like, we saw him, against, let's go ahead and find him. But, I mean, I'll be real with you. Yeah, because, like, some people in the chat were saying tonight, we need to get Woodson. I would love to get him. I mean, because when he was at Virginia Tech, he was. It's not the Virginia Tech of old. It is not the Virginia Tech of old, obviously. And let's go ahead and show a couple highlights of him. This
Seems
is
like
from,
he was a bright spot for Virginia Tech.
Oh yeah, I mean, because it was like the Brent Pryor was not working out for him. Yeah, we're gonna get done with this stupid ad. We're gonna get done with it. And here we go. He's just, oh man, he's celebrating with his guys. He's celebrating with his guys. Yep, there he is. He's watching his man. He's rolling up. There we go. I mean, like, getting a guy like that would be huge for the Crimson Tide. I mean, like, man, Virginia Tech had a bad. Well, okay. Well, I mean, he basically played a part in keeping them in the game against Rutgers. Basically. Oh, there you go. He's stopping them. He's just stopping them. Let's go ahead and roll over to the plays he was making against Boston College. And there we go. He's basically just, he's a monster. I tell you what. He's a monster. Like, I couldn't agree, Russell. I could not agree, Russell. But that's okay. That's okay. If we can get him to come over to Alabama, that'd be a huge.
I think that he was talking about Jeremiah Love not being in the playoffs.
Oh, Jeremiah Love?
Yeah, he was talking about Jeremiah Love not us being able to see him in the playoffs. That was sad because he was good. But yeah, I mean, definitely some of the guys you're showing, I mean, they got some nice plays. It's just whether Alabama signs them or not. I have a hard time with portal recruiting because it moves so fast, and a lot of times, I mean, yeah, fit. A lot of coaches do go off fit, but I mean, a lot of times, I mean, these coaches try to get some of the best, like, highly rated players in the portal, and then sometimes you end up spending too much money on a player that actually isn't deserving of it. So it's just portal. It's just roulette, man. It's it's almost like a Jeopardy wheel. You're going through a sea of available players from Power 4, Group of 5, Group of 6. It's tough, and it's the rumors that you hear about guys. Where are they going to go? Are they going to go here? Are they going to go there? You really don't know. I mean, everybody that you just showed, we could land them all, or we could get none of them. I mean,
well, here's one guy I'm hoping we can land. He's from USC. And this one's very personal to me because I'm still mad about USC Notre Dame being gone. But anyway, so we got USC transfer defensive lineman Devin Tompkins. the number 2 DL in the On3 portal rankings, and he is he's locking in a visit as we speak. So he's got Alabama, Clemson, Georgia, Auburn, and Ohio State.
Not going to Auburn.
No, because Auburn sucks. And I can tell you right now, thank God Lincoln Riley's not coming there, because he'd be trying to end the Iron Bowl if Lincoln Riley was there. I can tell you that. But let's go ahead and look at some highlights of him, shall we? Oh, he's just being mean to offensive line. Oh, there you go. There he is. Number 8. Boom. Man, he's just hungry, isn't he, Jeffrey?
Yeah, he looks pretty fierce, man. That's a good sign.
Oh man, he's just sacking all. Oh man, he forced a fumble. Yeah, hey, I got a sales pitch for Tompkins. Come over to Alabama. You get to keep that number 8 jersey, and I'll do you one better. We actually care about rivalries. We care about rivalries like Auburn, Tennessee, and we're not gonna bail out of them because like we're having a bad day.
I ain't gonna lie, man. It's a pretty low bar.
Yeah, but I mean,
Saying that USC is stooped that low.
Oh yeah, Snoop Dogg is definitely ashamed of USC right now. Yeah. Oh, he's mad at him. He's mad. I can tell you right now. Oh, there you go. There you go. He's watching. He's watching his man. Man, I gotta tell you, like, if we can get this guy, that would be huge for our D lineman. That's a huge win. That would be huge for the Crimson Tide. Man, like I want him. I want him. Alabama needs him. I want to see Alabama get this guy. All right, lucky number 8. That's what I say. Let's get him, dudes. And finally, we've got an Oklahoma State edge. You know, we've got our guy from Oklahoma State before, and we could get him again. Guy's name is Wendell Gregory. Now let's find him, shall we? Because I feel pretty good about looking at him, honestly. Now, this is what we find from Crimson Coverage. And he told Crimson Coverage that he has expressed interest in Alabama early on. He's coming off a strong redshirt freshman season at Oklahoma State, and he was named the Defensive Freshman of the Year. And he led all freshmen with 12.5 tackles for loss. And he spent one season at South Carolina, but I could tell you, I would love to get him. I would love to get him. Now let's go ahead and find some of these highlights, shall we? Because I think, yeah, there's a few. Come on. Okay, here we go. This YouTube short will do. It'll do. Here we go. Man, he's just cheering him up. Oh, I know it's UT Martin, but still. Oh, he's celebrating. That was like he was like one of the few bright spots of a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad 2025 season for the Oklahoma State Cowboys. I mean, I gotta tell you, we can get him, that would be a huge win. But like after looking at all these targets, how are you feeling about it, Jeffrey?
I mean, most of the players again have good highlights, but we don't know if half those players are going to come, if any of them do, if all of them do, for one. And number 2, we definitely need to look at O-line, and that was not an area that was addressed. Running back, is definitely needed, and maybe we can get that with Smothers, but, it's just, I mean, like, you want to get defensive guys. You want your defense to be stout, but I definitely think that O-line needs to be prioritized for sure. So, like I said, it's about culture too. It's about getting the guys that you do get to want to win and be prepared every game. But I just think that that they need to look at O-line.
Oh, 100%. We need all the offensive linemen we can get. Because like that is a huge get for the Crimson Tide. Like, because there's always somebody in the portal. Somebody is gonna want to come to Alabama. There's always somebody. And we will keep you updated on each of these portal updates, all right here on Alabama at the Voice of College Football. And let me tell you, you're going to be in for a fun ride looking at everything from recruiting to portal updates to just everything in general and the countdown to 2026. I'm just waiting it out for spring practice, waiting it out for summer, and waiting it out for football season. And if you love top-notch content on Alabama football, check out Alabama at the Voice of College Football, where you can like, comment, subscribe, click on the notification bell so you never miss another video whatsoever. Jeffrey, what magic are you cooking up on Only Talk Sports, good buddy?
I'm sure me and Will be live this week to go over the semifinal games, probably talk more about the games that just transpired as well, but definitely to preview the semifinals. That should be a ton of fun. I'm sure we'll do that sometime next week. And also, got more coverage of, probably the portal maybe as well. It's just a lot of crazy stuff going on. So definitely stay tuned for that. Would appreciate it if you check out my channel. Also follow me on X as well. Definitely for updates when we're going live. But most importantly, like Jackson said, subscribe to Alabama, the Voice of College Football. We appreciate the support. Could not do it without you guys. And we want fans of every team. We want Alabama Nation in here, but we also want fans of all the other teams too, like Nebraska fans with Pitt Snipe Husker and, Stephen Cherry of Ohio State and DeReal, Kentucky, and everybody else. We appreciate you guys so much. And again, it's what makes the show what it is.
Oh, great. No doubt about it. And, as I always say, tell your friends, your family, and the cashiers of pubs about the magic that Jeffrey brings on Only Talk Sports and all right here on Alabama at the Voice of College Football. And let's give him the 20,000 followers on X/Twitter. And Caleb Taylor is giving us a suggestion to our problem on our offensive line. What about Lance Hurd from Tennessee? He could fill that left tackle spot since Proctor will be gone. I like that. I like it. And we will be going over it all right here on Alabama, the Voice of College Football. You can check me out on Jackson Johnson 979, where I've got some upcoming episodes of the Jackson coming your way. And also, you can check me out on SEC at the Voice of College Football, where instead of Monday night, 7:30 p.m. Central Time, I will be going live 7:30 p.m. Central Time on Tuesday night, previewing Miami Ole Miss, what it means for Ole Miss that they are the lone SEC team in the playoffs, with Caleb Sailors of Super Talk Mississippi, and I will also be joined by Alex Dono of Locked On Canes and Locked On ACC. And let me tell you, that's going to be a fun night previewing the Ole Miss Rebels and the Miami Hurricanes on SEC at the Voice of College Football. And for more updates, what I've got going on the Jacksonian, how about the Voice of College Football, and SEC at the Voice of College Football, check me out on Jacksonville CFB on X/Twitter and on Instagram and Threads. Jackson Johnson 543-908. And with that being said, we wish you all a happy Friday night and now Saturday night, I guess, depending on your location. And with that being said, like, comment, subscribe, click on the notification bell to Alabama at the Voice of College Football so you never miss a video or an episode whatsoever. And we will see you Monday night, 6 p.m. Central Time with Travion Ware, Jeffrey at Only Talk Sports, and myself Monday night. And it's going to be a fun ride. And with that, we wish you all a roll tide. Good night, everybody.